Check out labt.org for all the info. Just be ready, prepared together. All right, let's go, come on! This ball is not gonna play itself.
It's my job to teach you the safe way to ride a bike. You should always wear a helmet just in case you fall. Ride on the sidewalk. It's safer than the street. Okay, when crossing a driveway, stop your bike and look both ways. Like this? That's good. And obey all traffic laws. Traffic laws? Yep. Like stopping at stop signs and walking your bike across the street. Boy, I'm glad you're my big brother. I know.
Ride right. Stop at the light. Watch the road.
Today we're going to talk about planning before a crisis. It's important to understand what plans should take place before a crisis occurs. Things that need to be taken into consideration include cultural or generational differences, beliefs, values, unspoken topics. Decisions need to be made about medical, legal, and family issues. It's important to talk about the wishes of individuals before a crisis occurs, about their care and their medical treatment, not just what the family prefers or what the family thinks the person may want. Then respect those wishes, because those wishes are important to the individual. Remember, people have the right to be in control of the quality of their life, understand the purpose of their treatment. They have the right to dignity and respect, comfort, which is physical, emotional, and spiritual. They may want to laugh or be angry or be sad, all interchangeable at random times, even if it doesn't make sense to others. They also have the right to have the truth. So what are some actions a person needs to take before a crisis? Well, there's advance directives, which are the legal instructions given by individuals specifying what actions should be taken in the event that they are no longer able to make decisions due to illness or incapacity. Advance directive forms can be downloaded from the internet. Some doctors' offices have them. Legal services have them also. Some community-based organizations have them. Once completed, it's a good idea to give your primary physician a copy for their records. Talk to your loved ones while they're in good condition and good health, and then respect their wishes. Make it a point to have your voice heard, even when you can no longer speak for yourself, by using an advance directive. It's important to plan before a crisis.
Welcome back to Aging Well in L.A. And Leslie, we were going to talk a little bit about the security features of the Code Amber alert tag. Can you explain some of those security features?
Yes, I can.
Please.
It's 256 encrypted
information, right?
And as far as identity theft, if they find your card, there's nothing that they can do with it other than get your name.
Right,
or your personal, your medical information. The second tier, there's a two-tier to this, where when you go to the website, you could put in, you have your own password, like you would your email or a credit card.
Right.
And you could put in all your personal information. We live in a state that has fires and earthquakes.
Everything you can imagine.
Right.
Right.
And you could scan in all your policies, policy numbers. Only you have access to it.
Okay, so there's not only the individual security code, you have an individual password.
Passcode, right.
Well, I thought one of the most important features as a first responder, God forbid you're in an emergency room, can, by scanning this or accessing the website, get the pertinent information to maybe save your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a great comfort.
Yes, that's the information that will come up first and only.
Yeah, because so many people, actually it's hard for me to remember what I'm allergic to, for example. And I love the idea. Well, here we're gonna show people now the information that is contained, but not limited to just these things, with your Code Amber alert tag. This is new, but it's such a good idea. It should have been around for ages.
Right.
How did you move this from the concept and the worries of caring for your mother into a reality? This had to be like a family undertaking or engaged a lot of people.
Well, because there is so much on for children. This is a division of the Code Amber Abduction of Children.
Right, of course.
And caring and being passionate about my mother and seeing what goes on in the hospitals and with the elderly, they need a voice.
Boy, do they ever. Now, while we're on the subject, the website, can you give us the website address? Because I really would like our viewers to check this out. And the website is?
www.codeamberalerttag.
Code Amber Alert Tag.
.com/LDR.
Okay, great. Now, we're going to have that up on the screen, so we don't have to repeat it endlessly. And when a person goes to the website, even a casual, even if driven by casual interest, they're going to get some questions that frankly, may be the first time they've addressed them. Do you know who to call in case of an emergency? Do you have your insurance policy number? Who's your medical provider? That stuff is not always at the tip of our tongues.
Right, and you would put that in so that when it's not at the tip of your tongue, no matter who finds it, the first responders have that information because they will ask you, do you have insurance?
Well, of course, yes, they will. For those $1,200 ambulance rides.
And I try to encourage the elderly on patient information, which they're now implicating. Put your pharmacist.
Yes.
Because their medications change all the time.
Yes, and they may be taking several medications.
They usually are taking several medications. And you want to make sure they interact with one another. And who better knows this than your pharmacist?
Exactly. Now, you can print this information out once you've put it into the forms, correct?
Absolutely. You could print it out. You could hand it out. I think it will one day replace the patient information form that we all have to fill out at doctors' offices.
Wouldn't that be a wonder? You know,
Yes.
it's funny, having twice now in the last few months visited emergency rooms, it would be a boon not to have to keep filling these things out.
All you have to do is show them this card.
Yeah.
They pull it up. Boom. They have all your information.
And Code Amber Alert Tag. It's important that you get that down because you can access the website. And is this a day-to-day thing with you now, Leslie?
This is a day-to-day.
Is it taken over your life?
It's taken over my life, and it's cost-effective.
Yes, the cost.
Yes.
I was astonished when you told me the number. Listen to this number.
It's $19.95 plus tax for a year.
A year.
A year.
Not per month. A year.
And it makes a great present. I had my insurance agent buy them as thank you presents. He sent me a Visa card and said, have lunch on me, and I had so much problem with it that he has since found out this makes a great present, and it lasts for a year. The renewal lasts for a year. If they mention that they saw the show, Aging in Los Angeles, their reward will be, we will give them an extra month to that $19.95.
See, there are rewards to being a viewer of Aging Well in L.A. Leslie, thank you so much. Well,
You're very welcome.
I know it's still painful, the loss of Mom. There's nothing worse. But you've done something positive in her memory. I wish you great luck with this. I'm going to sign up today.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're
and
welcome.
thank you for being with us here on Aging Well in Los Angeles. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Eric Garcetti, and I'm proud to represent Hollywood on the Los Angeles City Council. There are so many interesting things to see here. Some famous, some less famous, but just as interesting. Today, we'll show you one of each. So let's go on location at one of Hollywood's landmarks.
The Hollywood Walk of Fame is one of the most recognized attractions in Hollywood. It's been an important part of Hollywood for more than 50 years, immortalizing some of the entertainment industry's greatest contributors. The Walk of Fame stretches nearly 3.5 miles and has more than 2,000 star plaques honoring the legends of film, television, music, radio, and theater. Go online to find the location of your favorite star's plaque. After you've seen the Walk of Fame, take a walk around the corner and check out another Hollywood gem. Just a block away from Hollywood Boulevard is the Francis Goldwyn Hollywood Regional Library, designed by world-famous architect Frank Gehry. Not only is the library a great place to admire modern architecture, it's a great place for people of all ages to learn more about Hollywood. This branch library boasts an impressive collection of resources about the entertainment industry. It also regularly sponsors storytelling programs for kids and families. For more information, visit www.lapl.org.
It's all right here in Hollywood, so bring your family and check it out today.
In the aftermath of a disaster, you may not be able to rely on your knowledge of your home. You might also not be able to rely on your guide dog. The dog may be injured, frightened, confused, panicky, and/or disoriented. Be prepared to calm your dog and to keep it confined and securely leashed and/or harnessed. If you use a cane, remember to keep it readily available to assist you around hazards and obstacles. Keep a spare by your bed and at all exit doors, as well as a spare leash for the dog. Ensure that your guide dog is microchipped and that their license and identification tag have current contact information. Guide dogs can accompany you to an emergency shelter. Just as you need to prepare an emergency kit for yourself, you need to have one for your dog. Ensure you have enough water, food, any medications they may require, and a first aid kit. A blanket or rug and favorite toy may help calm them as well. Keep your veterinarian's name and number in the kit. Vaccination records may be required at the shelter. Only you know what can prepare and assist you and your family during a disaster. Are you prepared? For additional information, please contact the Department on Disability or the Emergency Management Department by calling the numbers on the screen or by dialing 311.
Hi, I'm Craig Irwin in Los Angeles.
Hi, I'm Trenton Irwin, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35, Our City, Our Channel.
Mr. Rosendahl here. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to call council to order. This is the Los Angeles City Council, and we want to welcome everybody today. This is Friday. We're going to have very special presentations here on the 10th. Now I'd like to call on the great councilman from the 3rd District, Dennis Zine. Councilman Zine for presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. LaBonge. And it's a pleasure to be joined by representatives of the United States Army. We have a very special occasion this morning to the people of Los Angeles, the 236th birthday of the United States Army. Let's hear it for the United States Army. Yo! Tuesday, June 14th, marks the 236th birthday of the United States Army. 236 years ago, the United States Army was established to defend our nation. We can keep the music going. From the Revolutionary War to the current operations taking place around the world, our soldiers remain Army strong with a deep commitment to our core values and beliefs. This 236th birthday commemorates America's Army, soldiers, families, and civilians who are achieving a level of excellence that is truly Army strong. Being Army strong goes beyond physical endurance and mental preparedness. It encompasses the spirit, high ethical and moral values. These are not only desirable traits in a person, but a nation that wishes to live up to the ideals and visions of its founders. Today, the Army relies on volunteers to answer the call to serve, just like it did in 1775, when a handful of men came forward to serve as our country's first soldiers. In 2008, I made a commitment to serve with the United States Army Los Angeles Community Advisory Board. The mission of the Advisory Board is to help the Army meet its recruiting mission in Southern California and keep the Army strong. America's Army, which embodies soldiers, their families, and Army civilians, epitomizes what is best about America. Their willingness to sacrifice to build a better future for others and to preserve our way of life is the strength of our nation. I would now like to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Blankenship, the commanding officer of the Los Angeles Recruitment Battalion. Lieutenant Colonel Blankenship has served missions overseas, and he's here with his family, with members of his battalion, and some words from Lieutenant Colonel Blankenship, and then we will have a tradition that is proud in the Army, where they will cut the Army cake, and we will celebrate, and we'll also do the certificate of recognition. Lieutenant Colonel Blankenship.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to address the City Council. Councilman Zine, other distinguished guests, we appreciate the dedicated support and demonstrated patriotism of this esteemed body. As Councilman Zine mentioned, for over 236 years, our Army has stood strong to support our nation. What we'd like to show you today is a little bit of a ceremonial for what we have done over the past 236 years with a cake-cutting ceremony to address our birthday. But what I'd like to do before that is if I could ask any of the members of the audience or anyone here today that has ever served in the Army, please stand.
That's right. Will all Army veterans please stand? There we go. Good job.
And also, if I could ask for any family member of a service member, whether that be Army or any other service, could you please stand? We all know that
we're the family.
We are certainly dedicated and supported by our family. As Councilman Zine mentioned, Tuesday is the Army's birthday, and we have all been part of that heritage and the reason we can celebrate today with immense pride. You are all part of the United States Army, the strength of our nation. I salute you for your continued service and look forward to the Army's birthdays yet to come. So if I could ask First Sergeant Singleton, our oldest soldier of the Los Angeles Recruiting Battalion, and Sergeant Phipps, our youngest soldier of the Los Angeles Recruiting Battalion, to step forward for the ceremonial cutting of our birthday cake. Again, we thank the Council for this opportunity to address you, and thank you for your continued support of our Army.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Blankenship. And a veteran amongst us, Bill Rosendahl, council member from the 11th District, proud member of the American Legion, and proud member of the United States Army, retired, council member Bill Rosendahl.
Thank you very much, my colleague. Again, we celebrate our great Army. And right now, while we're standing here, we have men and women in harm's way over in Iraq and in Afghanistan. And may God bring them back safely, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill Rosendahl. And we have the certificate of recognition hereby presented to 236th birthday of the United States Army, signed by the city family, all the elected officials of the city of Los Angeles. We present this to you, Lieutenant Colonel Blankenship, to let the folks know that the Los Angeles City Council, the people of Los Angeles, support our United States military and all they do to keep our freedom and our liberty. We acknowledge and we congratulate all the members of the United States Army and the other branches of the United States military, and we will shortly enjoy the cake that was cut, and we will not lick that sword because we will hurt ourselves with that. So, Tom LaBonge, back to you.
Well, Mr. Zine, let's everybody give the United States Army a big hand, big salute. Let's, where they serve far and near, and thank you for what you do for our country. Thank you.
Let's hear that music one more time. Music Man, hit it.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to call on Councilmember Huizar and Councilmember Alarcon for a presentation.
Right here. Hey, Jose.
Hamaga Humaga Harpoon. Thank you very much, everybody. Welcome, and let's introduce Councilmember Richard Alarcon and Councilmember Jose Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. LaBonge. I join with Tom and Jose Huizar to celebrate the Filipino Independence Day, the 113th Independence Day of the Philippines. We are here to honor members of the Los Angeles Filipino Association of City Employees, the Los Angeles County Filipino American Employee Association, as well as the St. Genevieve's marching band. That was the St. Genevieve's High School marching band. I went to St. Genevieve's for 2 years, so I'm very proud that they are here to join us. But the reason they are here is because a lot of people don't know, but St. Genevieve's, their student population is 80% Filipino in the community of Panorama City. Of course, Mr. Cardenas well knows that because they are in his district. And in fact, if he'd like to join us, that would be great. I also want to mention that our president, Eric Garcetti, whose district includes Filipino Town, could not be here because of his service in the military. But he has been a champion for the Filipino community, and I want to recognize him for the tremendous support that he has given to the Filipino community. I want to mention first, and we are joined by several dignitaries that we will announce as we go through this program. But first, let me mention that LaFace, which is the Los Angeles Association of City Employees, was organized 29 years ago in 1982, made up of members of the staff of the City of Los Angeles. And their objective was to empower and foster the advancement of Filipinos in city service and to promote the Philippine culture. Just the other day, Mayor Villaraigosa appointed Jaime de la Vega to serve as the General Manager of Transportation, the latest prominent appointment of a Filipino to a high-ranking position in the City of Los Angeles. He joins June Lagme, our city clerk, as well as people like Eddie De Angelis, who serves as Deputy City Attorney and served in the City Council chamber for many years. So we are proud to have the Filipinos from throughout the City of Los Angeles and, in fact, the County of Los Angeles join us. We are most honored to be joined by the Consul General of the Philippines, Mary Jo Bernardo Aragon, from the Philippine Consulate, as well as the Mayor of Walnut, Tony Cartagena, and Mark Pulido, a City Council member in the City of Cerritos. We are very proud to recognize the Filipino community and the Independence Day in particular because this is one of the fastest growing communities in Los Angeles. There is no way that you can work in the City of Los Angeles and not work side by side with Filipinos. There's no way that you can live in Los Angeles and not go to school, participate at local community activities without working closely with the Filipino community. They are a very proud and beneficial community to the City of Los Angeles, and we are very proud that they add to the tremendous diversity of our city, which I think has become the banner of the City of Los Angeles. We are, we believe, the most diverse place on the planet Earth in the history of humankind. So we are very pleased that they have joined us and allowed us to participate in their celebration. We have had many Independence Day celebrations, but each one carries the same theme: empowering a culture and a history of people to allow them to exist in a way where they are controlling their own destiny, whether it be Mexicans on September 16th or whether it be whatever community in the City of Los Angeles. Almost every community has had an Independence Day celebration. For those who do not know, the Philippines is an archipelago of more than 7,000 islands located in Southeast Asia. On June 12, 1898, Emilio Aguinaldo declared the Philippine independence. Council District 7 is proud to have a large portion of Filipinos, but as you can see by Mr. Huizar's presence, I mentioned Eric Garcetti and, of course, Tom Labange and Mr. Cardenas. We all have very large Filipino communities that we celebrate today. So we have residents from CD7 that I would particularly like to point out. I mentioned the St. Genevieve's High School Band, but we also are joined by the Knights of Columbus from St. Genevieve's. Noel Lakian works with the Filipino Senior Center at the Mid-Valley Senior Center. Pastor June Perez started the North Hills East Neighborhood Watch. Noel Omega, charter founder of the Filipino-American Chamber of Commerce, San Fernando Valley. Leo Maranan, founding member of the Filipino Chamber of Commerce. And we've asked them to join us, and they are with us today. We also want to introduce Cora Aragon Soriano, president of LaFace. They are the most prominent organization in putting this event together, and we thank them, and we will hear from Cora after the council members have an opportunity to speak. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Council Member Huizar on this day of Philippine independence celebrations. Mabuhay ang Filipina.
Mabuhay, Mr. Alarcon, and I want to welcome all our guests here this morning. I want to give a special recognition to Cora Aragon Soriano. She's always so enthusiastic and helpful and a great representative for the Filipino-American community here in the city of Los Angeles. I also want to give a very special welcome to our ever-present Consul General Mary Jo Bernardo Aragon. We're always very pleased to have her here in these chambers. And all over the world, as you heard from Mr. Alarcon, Filipinos are celebrating Independence Day today. And Filipinos have contributed to much of our country here in the United States. And as many of you know, during World War II, they played a critical part with the United States Armed Forces in making sure we were victorious. And in 2009, when the United States finally recognized and gave them their reparation payments, we celebrated with Filipino Americans here in the city of Los Angeles, and it was not only about the benefits that they will now receive, but it was about the recognition of being willing to give up their lives to protect the liberty that we all enjoy today throughout the world. So I want to give a huge thank you to the Filipino American veterans. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you for your service. And as Mr. Alarcon mentioned, in Los Angeles we have one of the largest Filipino populations. We are one of the most diverse cities. This is where many people throughout the world come visit relatives, and our people who live here go back to their native country to visit. The Filipino American community in particular has played a very strong role in making sure that they are involved with civic life. And that's what makes the city of Los Angeles strong. I want to thank them for that. So as we move forward, let's continue to celebrate their culture, their freedom, and above all, the friendship we've developed over the years. And I'm going to pronounce something that is not as easy as Mabuhay. This is my first time. It says, this is what it says. It says, Maligayang Patrirawang Nang Ra Nang Kalayan.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce from the 4th Council District the council member who has demonstrated over and over again that he is the greatest lover of Los Angeles and Los Angeles history, and most importantly, its diversity. And we appreciate Tom LaBonge for that.
Mr. Alarcon, thank you very much. And give Mr. Alarcon a big hand. I love the way you brought up St. Genevieve's, you know, and you remember your school, and you remember your friends and the people you grew up with. And the greatness about the land that we stand on, this building, this microphone right here, is everybody who is anyone, wherever they're from, have an opportunity to be part of this, be part of Los Angeles. So I'm proud. Council General last night was with us as we celebrated all our sister cities. So nice to see you again. And your leadership is so special. I will again bring greetings from Mr. Garcetti, who is so proud of historic Filipino town, as is Mr. Reyes, that they butt up districts and they share in all the diversity of Los Angeles. I say let's have a big hand for Makati, a great sister city. Okay? Yeah, you got it. So, Habaga Humaga Hapuna says Salamat.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce the Consul General of the Philippine Embassy, Mary Jo Bernardo Aragon.
Thank you very much, Council Member Alarcon, Council Member Wizard, Council Member Tom LaBonge, and all the members of the City Council of Los Angeles for this proclamation recognizing the valuable contributions of the Filipino Americans in the city and county of Los Angeles in the political, economic, social, and cultural development of this great city and of this great country. We wish to take this opportunity and join all of you in paying tribute to the men and women in the service, in particular our Filipino-American World War II veterans who fought side by side with our American friends, allies, during the Second World War, so that we may enjoy the freedom that we have today. Again, we thank you very much for the friendship that you have shown and to our community, and for the support and cooperation that you continue to provide to my country, the Philippines. Mabuhay po kayong lahat.
And before I introduce the other Cora, if the council members could join me with the resolution.
So on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, we present this resolution signed by all the council members and the mayor of the City of Los Angeles on the 113th anniversary of the Philippine independence. Congratulations and thank you for being part of Los Angeles.
Thank you very much. Hold that right there so you don't cut you out of the picture. It's a trick. Put your hand right on it. That's good. Here's our official photographer. Hey, Sherry, get one from the top.
And the leader of our Filipino Association, Cora,
Mr. Reyes would like to say a few words, Mr. Alarcon, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Council President. First, I rise to say congratulations. It's an honor to share this day with you. Thank my colleagues for putting this great presentation together. To hear the words of our Consul General Mary Jo A. Aragon, thank you so much for joining us. I know we have other elected officials here, the ones I'm aware of. We have with us Mary Polito from the City of Cerritos. I'm sorry, Mark Polito. I don't have my glasses. Mark Polito and Tony Cartagena, also the mayor of the City of Walnut. Welcome to City Hall. What's special to me is that I have this beautiful monument that was celebrated after World War II with the Filipino community honoring the heroes of World War II with General MacArthur. And that monument sits now in Westlake, in my district. And we're currently looking at how we can bring it back to life, give it the care it deserves, the honor it merits, because of the symbol that it represents of all the lives and sacrifices that the Filipino community, the country, gave to this country. And that mutual recognition of our support for our international city is something we should celebrate. So I know there are very many individuals who are interested in seeing this beautiful monument come to life. I want to let you know that it's going to be one of my priorities in my last 2 years to make sure we get that accomplished. I want to thank Aurora Awi Alayari, who has been a tremendous help in communicating and making sure that we understand our ability to work together in such a fabulous way. So I want to thank Yahweh for all your contributions to the Filipino community. But with that, I look forward to working with you and continue celebrating this great legacy as well as amazing contribution to this country. I have had the fortune of working with Gerald Cubatan, who was a deputy working with me for many years. He's now working with the CRA, but he's one illustrious example, a great mentor for our youth, and I congratulate you on that as well. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Alarcon, for spearheading this recognition and celebration. Congratulations to the Filipino community. And you better believe it, the people who live around my street and around the blocks where I live, it's probably half the families are Filipinos. And it's really wonderful because whenever I'm talking in the community or walking around in the community, etc., I get a lot of wonderful smiles and good conversation. And it's really wonderful to see the families that live in my community that I've gotten to know who are Filipinos, and we share a lot, especially as Latinos. Many of us share the same religions. Many of us share the same family values. It's very, very common and beautiful to see that I'll knock on somebody's door and you've got grandkids, you've got parents, children, grandparents, all living in the same house. And it's really, really beautiful to see that and the respect and the traditions that are passed down to the children because of those family values. So I just wanted to share that with you, and also let you know that we have a lot of wonderful people who work for the city of Los Angeles who are Filipinos, and I just wanted to thank them for their service and congratulate all of you parents of those people who work for the city of Los Angeles for teaching them those traditions and that good work ethic. And I always say when we have a celebration among Filipinos, my father did it. He wasn't very talkative, but I remember one time when I was working with him as a gardener. He started off as a farm worker here in California, and he told me something very interesting in a quick conversation. And he said, I said, Dad, you know, you always used to like to be the hardest worker out there whenever you were doing something. And he said, yeah, but those Filipino guys working out in the fields with me, they always gave me a run for my money. I always had to keep up with them. Congratulations.
Mr. Rosendahl.
Well, this is the beauty of Los Angeles. We have every country on earth here in large, significant numbers in Southern California. We are the megalopolis. We are the blender of the planet. I personally, when I went to the Philippines and interviewed your president and met with the folks in the MacArthur Hotel, some of the warring folks, I must say, that were fighting, I was able to get them to put their machine guns down and sit in a room and have a discussion. But the biggest part that I know about the Philippines are the Filipinos here in the United States and throughout the world. And they have gotten involved in health issues. You go to the hospitals. I have a fellow right now, an 85-year-old, who's suffering. Everybody's from the Philippines. And that energy, that tying together with the home country and here, has made America a better place. So I want to say God bless the Philippines and the Filipinos and my colleagues for doing this presentation today.
Our final speaker is the president of LAFACE, the Los Angeles Filipino Association of City Employees, Cora Aragon Soriano. But I'd just like to say that when you look at the city workforce, you know, it used to be that Filipinos were bookkeepers. Many of the city's bookkeepers were Filipino, and certainly we know of the tremendous contributions that they made to the health services. In fact, a friend of mine who's a comedian, Gil Esquivel, says often, I've been to the Philippines because I go to Kaiser in Panorama City. And so when we think of where we would be if the Filipino community was not providing those quality services in our health field, and not just in bookkeeping, now in the city of Los Angeles, they are lawyers, they are engineers, they are in every department, in every aspect of work, the police department, fire department. Then we want to thank this community tremendously and the leadership of the Filipino Association of City Employees, because they are the ones that are telling them to come work for the city. And so, Cora, we want to thank you for your leadership. I know you have an introduction to close our presentation with a song, because if you know Filipinos, you got to do everything with a song. And so we'd like to ask the leader of LAFACE, President Cora Aragon Soriano, for her comments on this very special day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mabuhay!
Mabuhay!
Kalayaan 2011, Panindigan ng Bayan. That is the theme of our Kalayaan, or Philippine Independence Day celebration today, which means Kalayaan, the Independence 2011, the nation's reserve. Honorable council members, thank you very much for the honor you're giving the Filipino community. And this is the celebration of our 113th Independence Day celebration. This is special because this is the very first time that we have joined with the LA City Employees Association and the LA County Association, led by Brenda and Francis Day. Thank you. To our council members who sponsored this event, Eric Garcetti is the lead sponsor. Jose Huizar, Richard Alarcon, and Tom LaBonge. Our sincere thanks from the bottom of our heart. We're so honored to have with us our Consul General, our mayor of the Cartagena, the mayor of Walnut, Mayor Antonio Cartagena, Councilmember Mark Pulido, and the civic leaders, the community leaders, LaFace board, and LACFEA members, and our precious Filipino community and the marching band. To foster advancement of Filipinos in the city of LA is our major goal. Hence, we have top higher-ranking officials right now. We have June Lagmay of City Clerk. We have the newly appointed Department Manager Transportation, Jaime de la Vega, Romel Pascual, Deputy Mayor, and all the awardees of the high management. With the help of Council Member Richard Alarcon, the St. Genevieve Marching Band is with us today. And they're going to lead us at the Independence Day Parade. Going after the press conference, we're going to go to we're having a parade at from the Spring Steps to the LA Triforium, and you are all invited for our traditional adobo, pancit, and egg rolls immediately after the parade at approximately 12:30. And now, it is an honor to introduce a multi-talented young singer, actor, and entertainer who will serenade you with a Filipino song, Ngayon at Kailanman, Now and Forever, Shan Colado.
Asahan may kasama ka, Sinta. Naroon ako tuwing maasahan mo tuwing ngayon at kailanman. Dahil kaya sa'yo nang ako'y isilang sa mundo, upang sa araw-araw ay siyang makapiling mo, upang ngayon at kailanman ikaw ay mapaglingkuran. Hiram, bakit labis kitang sa may kapal, ngayon at kailanman. Sa bawat araw ang pag-ibig ko sa'yo liyak, lalong tumatamis, tumitingkad. Bawat kahapon ay daig nitong bawat ngayon, nadaig ng bawat bukas. Ngayon at kailanman, sa ako'y ibigin ka. Ngayon at kailanman, hindi ka na mag-isa. Ngayon at kailanman, sa hirap mo ginawa ka, asahan may kasama ka, Sinta. Naroon ako tuwing maasahan mo tuwing ngayon at kailanman. Sa bawat
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Alarcon. Before we go to the next presentation, we have enough members to go through the agenda, Mr. Clerk. So what is our first order of business?
That would be to call the roll. Alarcon, Cardenas, Hahn, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Superior, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, West, and Zion Garcetti. 13 members present and a quorum, Madam President.
Okay, the meeting is called to order. What's our first item?
That would be approval of the minutes.
Mr. Cardenas moves. Ms. Hahn seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Koretz moves. Mr. Rosendahl seconds.
Madam President, items 1 through 7 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for items 3, 4, and 7 have been submitted and distributed to Council for its consideration. Further, it should be noted that a revised committee report for item 6 has also been submitted.
All right, members, are there any specials? Mr. Parks?
It's just number 1.
All right, Mr. Parks has called number 1 special. Did you want 6? Mr. Alarcon has called 6 special. So would you please open the roll on the remainder of the items?
6 special.
Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Madam
Mr.
President.
Parks. Excuse me, Mr. Parks.
2 and 7 forthwith.
Okay, 7 will go forthwith, please. Number 4 forthwith from Mr. Labange. And number 2 forthwith by Mr. Parks. Next item.
Madam President, that brings us to items 8 through 15. There are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
All right, any specials members? All right, then open the roll on that item. Ms. Hahn?
10, please.
10 is special by Ms. Hahn.
10 is special.
And Ms. Hahn is special too. Any other 8 special? Mr. Alarcon. All right, let's open the roll on the remainder of the items.
Madam President, we do have cards on items 8, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Okay, then all those items will be special.
That leaves 9, 14, and 15.
Open the roll, please. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Next order of business. Mr. Labange?
Yeah, 14 forthwith, please.
14 forthwith for Mr. Labange. Okay.
Madam President, that brings us back to presentations.
All right. Now, hold on a second, Mr. Labange. Okay, Ms. Hahn had asked to go first. All right. And
let's give a big hand for St. Genevieve's and their marching band as they leave. They're going to play for 10 seconds.
Today, I'm very pleased to welcome from the Office of the Consul General of the Republic of Korea, Tae-won Ha, and thank you for being here today. We also have members of the Korean Friendship Bell Preservation Committee here with me, Dr. Benjamin Lee, who's the chair, Mr. Jay Park, who's the president, Mr. Ernest Lee, the executive director, and Chu Soon-gil from the San Diego chapter. Also here is Ms. Maggie Koo, the director at Gateway Academy, who is here supporting the Korean Friendship Preservation Program. And here's the backstory, colleagues, on this presentation. The people of the Republic of Korea presented the Bell of Friendship to the people of the United States in 1976 to commemorate the bicentennial jubilee of American independence and to honor the veterans of the Korean War. They chose Angels Gate Park in San Pedro as the location of the Friendship Bell because it was seen as the gateway to the Pacific. 2011 marks, it's hard to believe, the 35th anniversary of this gift. The Friendship Bell was rung for the very first time on October 3rd, 1976, signifying a mutual bond of friendship and shared commitment to the liberty and the desire for world peace among the peoples of the United States and the people of the Republic of Korea. The Friendship Bell is rung only 5 times a year to commemorate and celebrate American Independence Day, the Korean Liberation Day, United States Constitution Day, New Year's Eve, and the Korean American Day. When I was first elected to the City Council in 2001, I got special dispensation from the committee to ring the bell when I was inaugurated on that very special day. So. June of this year marks the 5th anniversary of the creation of the Korean Friendship Bell Preservation Committee. The committee was formed by various community groups and volunteers to address the need for long-term preservation and restoration efforts of the Friendship Bell. If any of you have seen up close and personal this beautiful Friendship Bell, you will see immediately that it is so beautifully painted, intricate woodworking. It is an absolutely treasure to behold. But because it's in San Pedro, high on the hill, it certainly over the years has begun to show some signs of age, the salt water, a little corrosion and deterioration. And this committee was formed for the sole purpose of raising money so that we can continue on an ongoing basis to preserve that bell so it will always stand as a beautiful testament to the reason that it was given to us. $350,000 is needed to save and restore the bell to its former glory. And today we want to recognize the preservation efforts of the Korean Friendship Bell Preservation Committee, the Republic of Korea, and the City of Los Angeles. May this friendship continue to grow and flourish, and even as the bell deteriorates and is corroded, I believe our friendship is more beautiful and more strong than it has ever been since this bell was first given to it, and I treasure our friendships and our bonds and our commitment to peace and unity for both of our countries. So on behalf of the City Council of Los Angeles, I hereby declare this day, June 10th, 2011, as the Korean Friendship Bell Preservation Day. And I know later in this council, Tom LaBonge is actually going to bring a presentation to Korean Idol star and ballerina Stephanie Kim, who's here in the chambers today. And maybe she would like to be involved going forward in helping us raise money to preserve the bell. I think it's a perfect match today in the council chambers. So on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, I have 2 of these. And the first one I want to go to from the Council General's office, Taiwan Ho. There you go. And the other one I want to present to the committee, and Ernest said, okay, I want to present this to you on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, and maybe one or both of you would like to say a few words. Would you like to say a few words? Okay. You want to say a few words? You want to say a few words?
Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem, Councilwoman Han, and the distinguished member of the City Council. It's a great honor to address the historic body about a subject that is near and dear to the heart of all of us, Korean Bell of Friendship and its preservation. 5 years ago, after one of the bell ringing celebration at the Bell, representatives from the several organizations that attended the event beginning warning about the sign of aging and the deterioration that the magnificent 17-ton bell was beginning to show. We agreed then and there that we had to put our resources together and dedicate ourselves to the long-term care and the preservation of the bell. I can hardly believe that was 5 years ago, because our patience and commitment are as strong today as the first day. We knew that it would require a long-term commitment from each of us and a long-term plan to guide us. We knew how important a symbol bell was for the U.S.-Korea alliance and for the Korean-American community in Los Angeles. It symbolized friendship. It symbolized unity. It symbolized liberty. It symbolized peace and harmony. These are which the people of Korea offer to the people of the United States. These are the value and legacy we hope to preserve and pass on to the next generation, not just the Korean American, but all American. I thank you for the great support you have shown to our cause. By bestowing this honor today, our work has only just begun. And by your resolution today, you have given us great encouragement and affirmation. May God bless the city of Los Angeles. May God bless America. Thank you.
God bless Korea.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. And let me make an early...
Hold on, Mr. Labange.
I just want to say kamsahamnida chingu to Janice Han.
Yes.
That's thank you, friend, for being a great friend to the Korean Friendship Bell and all people. A wonderful job. And when it's real clear, we can hear it all up on Namsung North, atop Mount Hollywood in Griffith Park. Kamsahamnida.
You know, I want to make an early pitch. If you have not been to the July 4th program at the Korean Friendship Bell in San Pedro, it starts at, I think, 10:30 or 11 a.m. on July 4th. Please come down and see up close and personal this absolutely beautiful gift from the people of Korea to the people of the United States, and hear it rung, that bell ring, on only one of 5 times throughout the year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Han. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Labange. While we're making the transition, I'm trying to work out the order of the presentations. Mr. Wesson, I understand your presentation is pretty short in length and in duration. Would you please come to the podium?
Madam President, for clarification relative to item number 9, there was a technical correction identifying a public hearing date of July 13 rather than June 13. Again, that was number 9.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. All right, Mr. Wesson.
Thank you, Madam President and members. All of my presentations are short.
In length. Yeah.
By design. Anyway, today, in fact, I didn't get your name.
It's Marion.
I'm joined today by Marion, who's one of our great volunteers. Today is Pet Adoption Friday, and we have Ginger with us today. And Ginger is a mini Doberman Pinscher and a Dachshund mix. She's as big as she's going to get. She's about 2 years old. She comes from the great San Pedro shelter. She has all of her shots. She's ready to go. She gets along well with children and other people. She's got a great personality, and Ginger is looking for a home. Ginger, look at the camera, though, Ginger. You want people to see just how pretty you are, don't you? Anyway, if you're looking for a companion animal, unconditional love, we have hundreds of them in our shelters. So I'm asking all of the people that are here at City Hall that may be watching this on television or listening to this on council phone or here in the chambers, give Ginger a home. She's ready to go. And recognize, not only are you giving this darling little dog a home, you're saving her life. Unfortunately, we have to put a number of animals down every year. It's a very difficult thing. So think about, by adopting this little girl, you're saving her life. And if you call and you want Ginger, and Ginger has already been adopted, don't despair. You can call the number that's on the screen, 888-452-7381. We have hundreds and hundreds of animals that are just as cute as this one. In fact, I see Councilman Rosendahl is talking to one of our great congressional folks, Congressman Becerra. Ginger's got your name written all over it. I mean, why don't you take her home and surprise the family? Anyway, so please, City Hall, we have a 100% adoption rate where it relates to our dogs. We are in a fierce competition with the County of L.A. We got to keep our streak alive. So we're going to have Ginger stay here for a while, come down, look at her, pet her, fall in love with her, but more importantly, take her home. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson, very much. Mr. Labange, did you want to speak? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wesson.
All right, next, please. Oh, Mr. Parks.
Introduction. One of our Congress officials is here from the 31st District. Congressman Becerra. Let him alone, Bill. I'd just like to introduce, he just put on a news conference with his, two other of his colleagues about secure communities, which we passed this week, to talk about a letter that's going from the California delegation to the governor asking that the governor opt out as a state on secure communities. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that he was here, put that news conference together, had a very large number of people and a large number of press people that covered it. And so I want to say thank you very much.
Mr. Rosendahl?
President, just a point of privilege. I'd like to give the distinguished congressman my mic for a second.
I'll take them both. I just want to say to Councilman Parks, Councilwoman Perry, who joined us as well at this press conference, and to each and every one of you who helped support this resolution passed by the City Council, thank you very much. Not just for those of us who are trying to get to the point of having a sensible immigration policy and enforcement for this country, but for all the people who live in Los Angeles who day to day try to help our police officers keep our streets as safe as possible, who we don't want to feel threatened simply for trying to do the right thing by calling 911 or by trying to be a good Samaritan. So to each and every one of you who do the work of the people here in Los Angeles, I want to say thank you so much for helping support sensible immigration policies, and hopefully we'll hear back from the folks at ICE, and we'll hear from Governor Brown that they're going to try to help us make sure that what we do in Los Angeles is the right thing for the people here. So thank you very much, Councilman. Thank you, Mayor, much for giving me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Congressman. Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. I would just like to thank the congressman whose district does represent the city of Los Angeles, and I just wanted to thank him for making his presence and his intentions known, and I just wanted to thank him for all of his wonderful work for the many, many years of service to our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cardenas. Mr. Reyes, did you want to say something?
I just want to take also a moment. I have the privilege and honor to serve the same areas that we overlap in our districts. And he's been a strong advocate for health programs, health services, and this whole issue of how we treat human beings is very significant. So I want to thank him publicly and support him in all his efforts.
Thank you very much. All right, our next presentation will be from Mr. Zine. Mr. Zine, are you ready? All right. And then after Mr. Zine, we will have two presentations from Mr. Labange.
Thank you. And I am very pleased for my second presentation of the day to recognize Taft High School, the 2010-2011 LA City basketball champions. Taft High School. On Saturday, March 5th, the Taft High School boys basketball team traveled to the USC Galen Center and came back to Woodland Hills with the 2010-2011 LA City basketball championship against Westchester High School with a final score of 66-62. Here today we have Taft High School Assistant Principal of Athletics Robert Clark in company with Taft basketball team coaches and players, and our principal, Sharon Thomas, who's going to retire shortly, will not be present. But I'm going to bring the coaches forward and have some words, and then we're going to introduce all the players and the head coach, the athletic director. You, Robert? I'm Derek Taylor. Come on, Derek Taylor. Derek Taylor, come on forward, Derek. We got Derek and Robert. Introduce your folks, because I know we got a whole bunch of people here. The microphone is yours.
We'll get it going for you.
Here you go.
Okay. Should we thank everybody? Is that okay?
Well, yeah.
Okay. First of all, we'd like to thank you guys for having us here today. It's an honor and a pleasure to have us here. And we had a wonderful group of kids, and we had a really good year. We went 29-3, and we won our third city title in the past 8 years, and our second in 4 years. So it doesn't happen unless you have outstanding kids. And we're sending 6 of these kids are on their way to universities on athletic scholarships and academic scholarships. I'd like to take a minute to introduce our players and coaches. First of all, my number one assistant right here is Mr. Ken Banks. We have next to Ken, to his left is Keyshawn Robinson. Wave. We have our 9th grader, the youngest kid in our, well, we got 2 youngsters, Ajon Efferson. We have Alessandro Alberto. We have another kid here, freshman, Daryl Stewart. We have Bruno Castillo, Chris Yanku, Stephen Jones, if you can see him. We have Michael Thomas. We have Stephen Maxwell. He'll be playing at Cal State Northridge next year. We have Brandon Perry. He'll be playing at Cal State Northridge the following year, commitment. And then we have Burrow Lee, assistant coach. James Stewart, assistant coach. John Thomas, assistant coach. We have one person who's not present today, Spencer Dinwiddie. He's at the University of Colorado. He had to leave early. He was he was City Player of the Year. And he was our number 1 player, and also C.J. Blackwell, who's at Loyola. He's going to Loyola Marymount. They have to start summer school immediately, and so they're not present. Now here's our boss, Robert Clark.
Morning, council members. We'd like to thank Councilman Zine for this very esteemed award. We're very humbled to be here before you all today, and it's an honor to be in charge of athletics at Taft High School with a great tradition. I also want to thank Ms. Thomas, our outgoing principal, for all of her support. And we need to get all of you out there to come see our games next year. I'll be forwarding you all the schedule of our upcoming season. Thank you very much for this award.
I got a couple more words. A couple more words about Taft. This is Taft's 3rd city title in the last 7 years. In 2004, 2008, now 2010-11, Taft finished with a ranking of number 4 in the state, number 16 in the country. Taft has a 29-3 overall record and a 10-0 record in the West Valley League. Taft has 69 straight victories in the West Valley League competition. Taft has not lost a league contest since 2005. LA City Player of the Year, Spencer Dinwiddie. Is he here? Oh, he's the one that went to Colorado. Okay. And the LA City Coach of the Year, Derek Taylor. With that, it's a beautiful resolution that we have to the Taft High School boys basketball. Congratulations on winning 2011 Los Angeles City Boys Basketball Championship. The 66-62 victory over Westchester High School shows that Tornadoes. Tornadoes. We are a tornado. We are a tornado. Have the best skills to win a very competitive game. I wish you great success next season and to Taft High School. They win decathlons. They win basketball championship. They're at Winnetka and Ventura Boulevard in the West San Fernando Valley. And Sharon Thomas has been a great friend to the people of that community. I know she's going to retire. So to the team, to the coaches, to the families, to everyone, and to the future graduates. And you saw the presentation we did for the United States Army. They've got great careers in the United States Army. And whatever you want to be, the Army can help you with that. So if you're looking for that opportunity, they got basketball teams, baseball teams, every kind of team you can imagine. So to you, from us, and we're going to go back and do some photos in the back, and there's the championship trophy. And this must be the board. This was how they. Look at the back here. Oh, there we go. Los Angeles City Section Champions. There you go.
Mr. Zine, both Mr. Labange and Mr. Krikorian would like to say a few words. Mr. Labange.
I just wanted to rise to salute the city champions. Whenever you're a champion, you take that for life. Your coaches, your administrators, the athletic director, all the hard work. And to not be beaten by anybody in your league for over 5 years, that is something. So hard work pays off. Now you got great hands. In the future, whatever you do, make sure you help the young people coming along for good skills in all parts of life. But a special shout out to the coaches. Congratulations, Taft.
Beautiful.
Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say congratulations, gentlemen, on a really outstanding season, and more than this season, an outstanding run, as Mr. Labange said, an amazing run. I can't say I'm surprised because I'm a Cleveland High School alum, and more years ago than I care to admit, I have to say that in every sport, in everything that we did, the Taft Toreadors were the toughest competition in the league in every respect. So I see nothing has changed in all those years. We're delighted at your success, and thank you very much for representing the San Fernando Valley and bringing the championship to us.
Thank you very much. We love champions, and LA City continually wins championships. And Mr. Weezar, when you were a school board member, they talk about LA Unified District. They win championships, academic decathlons, you name it, continuously. So congratulations. Thank you, Madam Chair. And to Taft, we're going to go back and do some photos. That is the trophy. So to the athletes, congratulations. A job well done. We appreciate and we love the representation that you give to the City of Los Angeles. Let's hear it for Taft.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zine. Now, Mr. Labange.
Let's go back and we'll go back and do pictures. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hold on, Marshall, for one more minute. Good morning again. Let's give Taft High School City Champs another big hand right there. On behalf of Mr. Garcetti, who's serving our country in the United States Naval Reserve these last 2 weeks, I'm here to represent Eric on behalf and present this special commendation to Stephanie Kim, who's an idol star. Stephanie Kim was a member of the singing group Shi Chang J Hai Ti the Grace. And Stephanie wore her first ballet shoes when she was only 5 years old, trained at the San Diego Mountain Dance Center. At 12 years old, she won a major trophy in ballet and was held in the World Association of Art and Exchange as a soloist, having performed various times through the years through the San Diego area. She receives great honors. But to be an athlete, those were great athletes who were playing basketball. You're a great athlete as a dancer. This is the magic and the determination that you have. So I'm here on behalf of Mr. Garcetti to salute you. And Stephanie is the honorary LA City Cultural Ambassador, which is so important. As you saw earlier this morning, we honor the Korean Friendship Bell in Ms. Han's district, the work of the Korean community. And as you saw from today, it's like an international World Affairs United Nations, which your city of Los Angeles is. But to be an ambassador is so special because culture is what breaks it. When the city champs of Taft go play basketball, everybody's excited. When John Marshall High Acting Catholic comes in and is in a quiz contest, everybody's excited. When you dance, everybody's excited because it's art, culture, and academics that makes the world go round. So I just wanted to salute you as an honorary cultural ambassador and act as a volunteer for the Pacific American Volunteer Association on all the work that you do. And on behalf of Mr. Garcetti, congratulations to you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Stephanie. You want to say a few words? You want to say a few words? Come here, say a few words.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm very honored, very thankful. I'm very proud to serve as culture ambassador, and I'll try my best. I'll do my best, and thank you very much. This is my aunt.
Oh, here's her aunt.
I am very proud of receiving this wonderful international cultural ambassador. She will do her best in and out city of Los Angeles internationally, back and forth Korea. She will perform her ballet in June in Seoul, Korea, representing city of Los Angeles. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And a leader in the Korean American community, Chung Lee.
On behalf of the Korean community, we really thank the City Council, City of LA, for appointing Stephanie Kim as an international cultural ambassador. And she is an extraordinary who overcame adversaries to where she is now. So she'll do LA great service. Thank you.
Member of Council, thank you very much for this honor. Give Stephanie a big hand right there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Labange. And you're going to do your next presentation?
We're going to do the next presentation from one great ambassador, a great artist. We're going to call on the champions of the United States of America, athletic decathlon champion, online, John Marshall High. As you know, there's a variety of activities for our young people, and as you can see today, from that which was the great Taft, and I say that from athletics, to great academics. I got a confession, Janice. I was more on that side than this side, but I'm proud of both sides because it's all that mixed together makes for very success in our community. John Marshall High School, located in the Silver Lake Los Feliz district in the Shadow of Griffith Park, is the U.S. Academic Online Decathlon Winners. This program is a competition which each school comprised of 9 students from a variety, Janice, listen to this here, a variety of grade points average. So that means you and I may have a chance to make the team. Not just those who have 4.0, but a variety of grade point averages, which gives us the great diversity there. This is the second consecutive year that John Marshall has won the national online competition. Their team scored over 38,000 points out of 48,000 possible. And also, Ye Moon Hong was named the top scorer individual this year's contest. Ye Mei Moon. Give a big hand right there. Good job. Give him a big hand. Number 1 in the United States. Chinchilla.
Marcos Chinchilla.
Marcos Chinchilla, right here. Give him a big hand for his work. Recognized the top scorer in the varsity division. And the topic, which is very interesting and timely, is the fact that it was on the Great Depression. So they had to answer questions on the Great Depression. As we just spoke earlier about history and how history is important to learn, they knew this history. So I want to salute the team, but also salute their great coach, Larry Welsh. Give Coach Welsh a big hand. Thank you. And also, give the coach a better hand now. And also, Daniel Harrison, the great principal at John Marshall High. And I have a variety of certificates, but I want to really present the first one to Coach Welsh for his work, his drive, and his force. On behalf of the City of Los Angeles, Councilman Garcetti, all of us, Coach Welsh, you're number 1 all the way at helping not only this year, but every year. Good job, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Terry Colberg here this morning. Terry, come on, assistant coach. Good job, Terry. Good job, Coach. Good job. I appreciate that, Terry. Also for the school, Mr. Harrison, for John Marshall High, you get that. Great high school it is. Okay, this is for City Council. The question, Mr. Weezar, you're a Princeton guy, right? Here's the question right now. Boom. Who was John Marshall? You're a lawyer, too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last bonus question.
Mr.
Can anybody
Labange.
answer? Who was John Marshall? City Attorney.
The first Supreme Court Justice.
First Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Third, says Joanna Erdos. She's one of the retired
I
teachers.
think
You got the bonus.
Mr. Krikorian and Mr. Reyes would like to say something.
We're going to give him a hand in just a second there. But Marcos, I want to give your certificate right there. We got that going right there. Sergio Leon. Where's Sergio? Good job, Sergio. Good job. All great public school students. How do you say that correctly? Kudzo. Kudzo. All right, good job, Kuzo. A big 11th grader. Good job, Kuzo. Min Sun Jung. Good job. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Ye Moon Hong. Good job. Marina Hopko. Good job, Marina. You could call me Tom Labangi. It's okay. Michael Fugiyama. Good job, Michael. And I hope I got everybody right there. Miss Perry, I'm right under the clock. Bill Hung. Good job, Bill. Good job. Here, hold on there, because it comes apart. And Kathleen Yee. Good job. You got everybody there, good job? You got everybody? John Marshall High School. Yeah. United States champions, academic decathlon online.
Okay, Mr. Krikorian.
The coach wants to speak real quick.
All right, we do have two members who want to speak.
Okay. Okay, the members want to speak. Okay.
Can we do that now?
Sure.
Mr. Krikorian, Mr. Reyes wants to speak.
I just wanted to rise and acknowledge the students and the decathlon, how hard you work. My staff was just mentioning it's weekends, it's after school, and it's constant. And to be ready and to achieve that goal is amazing. Congratulate you. I have a chief of staff, Jose Gardea, who is a graduate from John Marshall, and I know he'll be really proud too. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's, thank you.
Coach Welsh. None of this could have been done without so many people that it would be impossible to thank everybody in the time that we have allotted. But I will say that Tom LaBonge has been an incredible friend of John Marshall High School and the academic decathlon team. Thank you, sir. And his staff, Mary Rodriguez, Lisa Schechter, and Ms. Shapiro. We thank them so much for all of their support and help. Also, the Los Feliz Improvement Association. Marilyn Bush would have liked to have been here this morning, but she has a little problem with her hip. We have the John Marshall Alumni Association. Joanna Erdos is here aptly representing them. All of our staff at the school itself. Robin Lee Ramirez, who's back here hiding. She is the assistant principal in charge of academic decathlon. All of the coaches that we have, obviously we have Nelson Hong. Where are you, Nelson? Nelson does math with us. He's a graduate. He's currently attending the University of California, Berkeley, and he's in his third year, does math with us. So we have so many students that commit to this activity, and you're absolutely correct. These students spend about 1,200 hours studying the material on the Great Depression. And Michael Fukuyama has a question for Tom LaBonge with regards to the Depression. Go ahead, Michael.
All right, so you know John Steinbeck's great novel, Grapes of Wrath, right?
Grapes of Wrath.
Well, what was the name of the family who traveled on, whose journey from Oklahoma to California is highlighted?
Tom Joad.
Also, what highway did they travel on?
66.
Good job.
It winds from Chicago to L.A., more than 2,000 miles along the way. Get your kicks on Route 66. Give a big kick for John Marshall High. Yeah, I got you. Good job. Good job. I'm going to go back there quickly.
Okay, all right, great.
Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. LaBonge. Mr. Reyes, you ready to go?
Here we go. Come on, Marshall.
That was good. Okay. All right, here we go. Councilman LaBonge. We have John Marshall Prize for all of the
You got to disclose that. Okay. It's hard to follow a Tom LaBonge presentation. But colleagues, I want to thank you all for allowing this day so that we can recognize that Rescate is celebrating the 30th anniversary this year. Founded in 1981 by members of the Santana Chirino Amaya Refugee Committee and the Southern California Ecumenical Council, El Rescate was the first agency in the United States to respond with free legal and social services to the mass influx of refugees fleeing the war of El Salvador. Today I'm honored to be joined by Salvador Sanabria, the Executive Director, Francisco Rivera, the President of the National Central American Roundtable and Board Member of Rescate, Adelso Flores, is still with us? Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Flores. I believe Francisco Pineda had to leave, but he was here. So, as we look at this amazing contribution, to me it's an honor to be here to recognize all the sacrifices that many of the community members endured to make sure that the folks that were here who were surviving in our country, who were the most vulnerable given the situation that we're in, that Rescate was able to stand up and fight for their rights. They fought for housing, for food, social services, and more than importantly is the human rights that they deserve both here in the United States and Latin America. It's true that during times of war or economic turmoil, our communities are most threatened. That's why I believe that the work of Rescate is needed now more than ever. Currently, they're working on a great project, the first one in this country, Plaza Morazan. We'll have new landscaping, but they'll have components that speak to education, speaks to history, heritage, but more importantly, reinforces the notion of identity. As you know, many of our children in our public schools today are dropping out at a 40% rate, and that a lot of our gangs are finding ways to basically suck them into this subculture, but through identity, reinforcing the history, reinforcing pride, that we have a chance of giving themselves a chance to succeed. And these are the types of projects and programs that Rescate has been focused on. Upton Clinton Sayers once said, "I know that our liberties were not won without suffering and may be lost again through our cowardice. I, too, like Sinclair, intend to do what little one man can do to wake the public conscience." So I want you to join me in celebrating and honoring the work of this incredible organization. Again, I want to thank Patricia Panting, Francisco Rivera, Cyrus Barrios, Alberto Flores, Ana Duch, Francisco Pineda, Reverend Dan Romero, Peter Che, and Salvador Sanabria, the Executive Director. The great honor signed by the Council, the Mayor, and the citywide officials. Congratulations.
Congratulations, and thank you, Mr. Reyes.
Yep, allow them a moment to speak.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the City Council. Thank you, Councilmember Reyes, for this honor. We feel proud to be recognized by this great city of Los Angeles, and we commit ourselves to continue another 30 years serving more than 28 immigrant communities in Los Angeles. And I want to take the opportunity to commend the City Council for the resolution related to safe communities. We need to continue guaranteeing that the City of Los Angeles continue being a sanctuary city for those hardworking immigrants from all over the world. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Alberto Flores, and one of the board members of Rescate. Thank you very much for the introduction, Mr. Reyes. We all know, a lot of things happens in Los Angeles, and pretty much we take precedence in history. And this was not the case. The hamburgers were invented in LA by McDonald's, but Rescate started out like the first organization that started to service, represent, and defend the Central American community, and we're very proud to be part of that, and we really thank you for the good eyes that the City Council has given us for these 30 years. And Salvador says, we're committed to continue our work for the next 30 years. Thank you.
Good morning, Acting President Zine, honorable members of the City Council. My name is Francisco Rivera, and former President of the Board of Directors of Rescate and President of the National Central American Roundtable. First of all, who really should be recognized this morning is the Council member, Ed Reyes. This is a great institution of the City of Los Angeles. You know, being for the last 25 years, you know, a true jewel. There has been this transformation of the urban landscape of the City of Los Angeles, you know, the Golden Line, the LA River, the LA Live. This gentleman has been, in the history of the transformation of the city of Los Angeles, deserving himself, and will move for that, his own El Reyes Square. So we're going to look for that. El Rescate, the Central American community is growing. It's coming to the City Council, the designation of the Central American Cultural District. We will be having the Central America Francisco Morazan Plaza and the monument to Oscar Romero. I mean, this is an honor and a recognition of the Central American community. And also, before ending, I want to salute, Councilwoman Janice Hahn. Yeah. We are very happy about Janice. She is going to be the great new voice in Congress, and she's going to join the voice of 3 powerful women already in Congress from California, Lucille Roy Balalar, Judy Chu, and Karen Bass. Being Janice a champion, for civil rights, for labor rights, and immigration rights, she's the best. So we look forward. We can talk of Congresswoman Janice Hahn. So let's salute her. And too sad for the city of Los Angeles to lose your voice in a special election, but in creating another special election in the city of Los Angeles. So that is coming. We will see. Thank you so much. And I want to recognize Sylvia Beltran, an outstanding, a field deputy for Council Member El Reyes in the Central American community. We love you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Our next presentation, Mr. Jose Huizar.
How are you? How are you? Nice to see you. How are you? How are you? Long time to see you. Good to see you. Thank you, Mr. President, President Zine, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy and proud to be standing with future leaders of our country. The young students you see here today are part of a group called Society of Students, or SOS. I first met this program when I was on the Board of Education at Breed Street Elementary in Boyle Heights, and I was so impressed with what these young people are planning to do, and I was so impressed with how the program really teaches our young people to be proud of where they come from and also to prepare them to be future leaders of our country. SOS was developed at Breed Street Elementary School by a teacher nearly 11 years ago to strengthen student character and resiliency before entering middle school, and it has had a tremendous impact and has made an incredible difference on the lives of students, both academically and socially. And today in Boyle Heights, SOS operates in 7 elementary schools and has been replicated in other schools in LAUSD and as far away as Georgia. Today we have 2 elementary schools who are participating in SOS here in Boyle Heights, Breed Street Elementary and Utah Elementary School. And throughout the year, these eager students have engaged in a curriculum that teaches them to advocate and work for their own educational outcomes at school and at home. They have also participated in service projects to make their communities a better place to live. And the SOS program culminates today with a visit to City Hall, and we are here recognizing them as well for being part of such a wonderful program. So we are not only congratulating these young students, but we are also congratulating the SOS program for the wonderful work they do. And certainly this great program would not be possible without a fantastic staff that leads by example. I want to recognize our SOS coordinators for giving these students the tools to become leaders in our communities now and in the future. So with that, let me thank Josie Avila, with a certificate of recognition from the City of Los Angeles. And I met Ms. Avila back when her son, Robert Sendejas, was a SOS founder, along with Janice Hura. She was the teacher at Breed Street Elementary School that started this program. Ms. Hura is on personal leave, but Josie was there. And Josie was not only a parent and now being part of this great program. It's great to see that you continue on this great program. I know how much of a difference it has made in Roberto's life. They call him Roberto. There he is. Oh, he's all grown up now. Wow. You see, boys and girls, I first met him when he was your age. And look at him now. Wow. So congratulations, Josie, and thank you for your participation and your continued involvement in this wonderful program. Let's give Josie Avila a huge round of applause. Thank you.
I would just like to thank everyone for believing in SOS and for supporting all these students in Boyle Heights. I got involved 11 years ago as a parent, so now I'm empowering all the parents in Boyle Heights to be leaders for their children. And here are our leaders today. So thank you for your support, especially to our Councilman Jose Huizar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And our other SOS coordinator is Chloe Perilla. Let's give her a big round of applause. Now, Chloe was a student at Breed Street Elementary School when Ms. Hura started the program about 11 years ago, and she was also in Josie's son Roberto's class as part of that founding SOS class, and it's been great to see them grow up and now do wonderful things. And congratulations, Chloe, and thank you for being involved in such a wonderful program and continuing to give back, just like the SOS program ingrained that in you 11 years ago. Congratulations.
I would just like to say thank you, and I'm very proud of the 44 students that are here today representing hundreds of SOS members. And like I said, I stood here 11 years ago, so it's kind of a big deal to now come here with students that, that are in it now. So it's good to see that, we have also the support from our council members and for everyone here. So I just like to say thank you for all your time.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to go. I also want to give a special thanks to our wonderful teachers. We have Mrs. Goodman here from Utah. Where is she? Hello. Hello, Ms. Goodman. We also have Ms. Kopp from Breed. Hello. And we also have principals here, Ms. Carmen Madadi and Patricia Soto Castro, that I've known for some time. We also have Lester Garcia, the Executive Director of the Boyle Heights Collaborative. So with that, let me present to you two wonderful students. The first one is Ricardo Zamora from Utah Elementary School. Ricardo.
Hello, my name is Ricardo Zamora. I am from Utah Street School, and I would just like to thank Jose Huizar for supporting us and everything, and thank you.
Welcome. All right. And now we have Catherine Lopez from Breed Street Elementary School.
On behalf of all the students, I would like to thank Council Member Jose Huizar for making this day possible. I would also like to thank all his staff, and also a special thanks to Mr. Lester Garcia for supporting us in SOS, and a special thanks to Ms. Avila and Chloe for training us for this day.
Yay. Well, thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, these are young people who, once they're part of the program, the statistics have shown that they succeed academically. But more than that, they are also taught the skill set about leadership. One of the first things I saw in them was confidence, courtesy, and how to build on social skills that will help them as they grow up and go on to middle school. I'm very, very proud of these students. When I first met them 11 years ago in the program, not you guys, but the other people who came before you, I was so impressed, and it's great that this program has flourished, because often we see some programs that they're doing great things, but because of no support or teachers leave or the founders leave, they don't continue going, but this one is one that has continued to flourish. So onward, adelante, and we are very, very proud of you. Congratulations, SOS students. I'm going to go back to the rest of you guys. Good job.
Ms. Sahan has a commitment, and she wishes to take item number 10. So she promises 2 to 3 minutes. So, Mr. Clerk, if we can take item number 10, then we'll come back to our final presentation with Mr. Alarcon. Ms. Hahn, number 10.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, colleagues, for allowing me to take this out of order. Colleagues, I just wanted to highlight a great cooperation between Warren E&P, which is an oil drilling company, and the community of Wilmington. And this item sets up a permanent trust fund so that $500,000 that I was able to negotiate with this company to pay for mitigation in the community of Wilmington. And this money will go towards beautifying the community of Wilmington, streets, sidewalks, trees, medians, other beautification projects. As you know, you've always heard me for 10 years talk about the community of Wilmington and how they are a community that lives on pipelines, next to refineries, next to the Port of Los Angeles, and they have experienced negative impacts many times from industrial uses within their community. This trust fund and this company will, going forward, continue to provide real benefits for the people of Wilmington. And part of this is for the Wilmington Neighborhood Council to direct the City Council office going forward with priorities on how this money might be used. But I wanted to just highlight this today to say this is a good thing. This is a company being a good corporate citizen and really caring about the people that are so close to their industrial use. So thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to do that. Less than 3 minutes.
Very good. And we have one speaker, Arnold Sachs, and then we will take the vote on that, Ms. Hahn. Mr. Sachs. Oh, Mr. Cardenas. We'll get to him in a moment. Mr. Sachs and then Mr. Cardenas, then we'll take the vote.
Thank you. Good morning. It's nice to hear that Ms. Hahn is going to be committed. Community activities, requests, and city funds appropriations for the support of community activities. So what is the proportion of this $500,000 that'll be coming from gifts and contributions and city fund appropriations? Because it doesn't really spell it out except to say there's $500,000. And there are programs to be done in 10 years. That's $50,000 a year. For Wilmington, you're right. It's been abused by the harbor for over 10 years and still faces more abuse. It's because of poor leadership. Thank you.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. I don't think the public understands how important and how good this particular motion is that Ms. Hahn was able to put together. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, the community of Wilmington has a lot of needs. And unfortunately, sometimes we fill those needs by having to have fees or taxes or what have you levied across the general public. For example, when the voters agreed after putting on the ballot recently to tax themselves ½ cent to make sure that we really kick it up and actually create a much, much better transportation system throughout this county of Los Angeles of 10 million people, they voted to tax themselves. The reason why I'm pointing that out as an example, because what Ms. Hahn was able to do here is recognizing the needs of Wilmington and also recognizing that there is an organization that is willing to voluntarily put together funds, not a tax, not a fee across the public, but one particular company is willing to say, we want to give back to this community that we have a relationship with and that we're affecting. So it's really important for people to understand that when elected officials can do that, and they do that, it's not easy at all. It's not easy at all. It takes having a good relationship with the community, it takes having a good relationship with business, and then it takes being able to master the ability to get through the legal language of making it a legal opportunity that the community can count on. And this particular fund soon will have tens of thousands of dollars in it, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then eventually millions of dollars in it, and it's going to go to the community of Wilmington. This is something that's well-deserved for the community, and this is a perfect example of an elected official like Ms. Han, who has been there listening to the community, is currently listening to the community, will continue to listen to the community, and not only listen, but actually act on doing the right thing. So I just wanted to take the opportunity, because it was kind of quiet. People don't realize that sometimes we do things quietly around here, but they don't realize the backdrop of the hundreds or thousands of hours and all the technical things that go into it to make this a reality and make it possible. And it really is something that is a win-win for the community, and something that a private company is volunteering to do. That is not easy to do in our legal system. It's not easy to do in our legislative process, but Ms. Han made it look easy once again. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Open the roll. Number 10. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right, our final presentation, Mr. Alarcon. Mr. Alarcon, our presentation.
If I could ask for the contingent from Bert Corona, school and family and organizations to step forward. Mr. Cardenas, if he would join us. We are very pleased to recognize a historical figure in Los Angeles that is not a household name. It's a household name to many students in the Northeast San Fernando Valley, because Bert Corona Charter School has become an anchor in Pacoima, producing college students for several years now. But Bert Corona is not well known to the general Los Angeles community, and so we wanted to designate a day in his honor. When I was 18 years old, I joined Bert Corona on one of my first demonstrations, protesting an auto dealership that whose workers were on strike. And I'll never forget his passion back then, which was 39 years ago. And it inspired me as a young college student. And so I worked with him on many levels during the course of my career, and am very proud to introduce this resolution to declare today Bert Corona's Day in Los Angeles. His story is truly a story of many people of Los Angeles. He came to us from El Paso, Texas. His parents were immigrants from Mexico. But they were very deeply involved, believe it or not, in the Mexican Revolution, as many of us can trace our histories to family members who participated in that. He came to Los Angeles as a student athlete in the 1930s at USC. And if you can imagine being a Mexican-American in the 30s, going to USC, he was certainly a... He certainly was breaking barriers way many years ago, and particularly not only because he went to USC, but because he went to college, but also because he was a student athlete. And Mexican Americans have had a really tough time in college back then. With the likes of Mark Sanchez, we might take things for granted these days, but back then it was very difficult to get into college, let alone to be an athlete in college. But to tell who Bert was, I think this is a great story, because he used to tell the story that he had a USC athletic scholarship that required the recipients of scholarships to work at a plant owned by a USC alum. Well, they learned who he was because soon after that, one of the very first things he did, even though he had the scholarship, was to organize the warehouse workers at the plant. So subsequently, as a young man in the 1930s, Bert took part in the great organizing campaigns for the newly formed Congress of Industrial Organizations, CIO, AFL-CIO, for those of you that might not make that connection. He primarily in Los Angeles, later becoming the president of Local 26 of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union, and a political ally of Harry Bridges, one of U.S. labor's most progressive and democratic leaders. As I'm speaking, I know that all of you are thinking of the tremendous history of Los Angeles that we are reminded of by these comments. Corona's labor organizing experience in Los Angeles was welded to the revolutionary history of the Corona family, and his organizing philosophy was not restricted by institutional, national, or other boundaries. For example, as president of the Asociación Nacional Mexicano-Americano, he organized workers at American Smelting and Refining Company in Northern California, but led successful solidarity actions in sympathy with fellow miners in Mexico and Latin America. Later, while Corona worked with Ernesto Galarza, Cesar Chavez, and others to end the abuses in the Bracero program, he did not support unions agreeing to return workers home to Mexico. Instead, Corona led ANMA, the Asociación Nacional Mexicano-Americano, to organize the Braceros and their families in California for a better life in California. That idea became a hallmark of Corona's approach to immigration, holding all workers and their families to have the same rights and opportunities as any other worker, irrespective of origin. I believe it's Mr. Krikorian who did some work on the immigrants who were United States citizens who were sent back to Mexico, and there were 1 million or so that went back. Only half of them returned. The other half were so ashamed and angry that they stayed in Mexico. But Corona worked on those issues. He founded, led, and organized numerous organizations in Los Angeles and California, such as CASA, Mexican American Political Association, the Mexican American Movement, and the National Congress of Spanish-Speaking People, all working to that goal. Corona's ultimate vindication came in 2000 when the AFL-CIO itself adopted a new pro-immigrant policy calling for amnesty for undocumented workers and an end to employer sanctions. Please join me before I present the resolution, let me ask Mr. Cardenas for his comments. Bert Corona's school is very close to him. I understand his daughter goes to Bert Corona.
Thank you very much, and well done, Councilmember Alarcon. I have had the pleasure and the honor to meet Bert Corona, and he actually came to my office when I was an elected official, and he came to pay his respects, etc., and I immediately told him, no way, I respect you. And I immediately asked my staff to grab a camera because I wanted to take a picture with Bert Corona. And one of the things that I want people to understand about Bert Corona, some people have spoken ill of him because they call him a lefty. Thank God for lefties, because Bert Corona Middle School is actually a school that their main focus is service learning, volunteerism, not requirement, not forcing people to do things, but this lefty led a spirit of giving. He led a spirit of giving of yourself for others. To me, that's something that's commendable in some of the biggest names that have ever walked this earth, such as Mahatma Gandhi, such as Martin Luther King, and also Cesar Chavez, people who were not about violence, but they were about sacrificing for the greater good and actually making changes for the masses, not for themselves, but for the masses. And Bert Corona actually lived it to the day he died. Bert Corona is someone that we should honor and cherish as a true American. And if you look at the Constitution of the United States, call him a lefty all you want, but the bottom line is he truly embodies what this country is really supposed to be all about. And that is about giving, it's about equal respect, it's about equal rights, and it's not about taking advantage of people, whether it's in the workplace or on the streets, or deporting American citizens just because of the way they look. These are the issues that he took to heart, and he actually took them on. So I just wanted to give my appreciation for Bert Corona, and I'm very, very proud
to say that my son went to Bert Corona Middle School. My daughter is at Bert Corona Middle School, and they have learned much from that spirit. Thank you.
So with that, I'd like to ask his wife to step forward and Dixon, Bert's wife, excuse me. Not your wife. Bert's wife and Dixon Slingerland, who established the charter school, to step forward with comments about the significance of this day for them.
My name is Angelina Corona, and I'd like to thank so much the Richard Alarcon, as well as Tony Cardenas for making this resolution on favor of my husband, Bert Corona, and remember his legacy, and remember the May 29, the day where he died, as the anniversary of Bert Corona, to be respectful by the city of Los Angeles. I'm proud to be here with the kids from the Bert Corona Charter School. We feel very proud not only of the academic performance, but I'm pretty sure these kids will follow the steps of Bert Corona and become leaders in their communities. I'm very proud to take this resolution under the name of my organization, also Hermandad Mexicana Nacional, who is one of the biggest providers of citizenship in Los Angeles, Ventura County, San Bernardino. Last, I would like to say that Bert Corona was a historical, legendary leader who fought until the end, until he died, to build the political landscape of Latinos in California, who struggled until the end for immigrant rights. And I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the members of the City Council for the recent efforts to stop the abuses of immigrants who had gone through a very hard time in the last 5 years with a lot of deportations. Thank you so much. And again, I'd like to recognize here the presence also of the director of the Youth Policy Institute, Dixon Slingerland. Thank you so much, my son, Ernesto Corona, and Frank Corona. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Dixon Slingerland, Executive Director of the Youth Policy Institute, YPI. I want to thank City Council Member Alarcon and City Council Member Cardenas for supporting this day and for honoring Bert. Bert was a very important figure in my life, and so it was a real thrill for us at YPI when we opened our first charter school in 2004 to name it after Bert Corona. And we love coming here to City Hall and bringing our students and our staff and our board members. And this is greatly appreciated, so thank you.
So, good morning. My name is Ernesto Corona. I'm the son of Bert Corona. And I'd just like to take this time out to not only remember the day of my dad's birth, but also look at the work that's still ahead and what we still have to do. I myself am a citizenship teacher at La Hermandad Mexicana Nacional. I've helped thousands of permanent residents accomplish the goal of becoming citizens. And you know, just continue that his memory, but also look at the work that is ahead. I know a lot of us, like Tony Cardenas, Richard Alarcon, probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. And you know, we still have to keep working. We have the future of the Bert Corona Charter School here, and we really hope to see that progress go ahead. And I'd just like to say thank you, and todos somos Bert Corona, and que vive Bert Corona. Thank you very much.
You know, one of the reasons Bert Corona is not a household name is because it was never about Bert Corona. He never marketed himself. It was about the cause. You could be working with him on an issue 100%, and while you're walking in a march in unison with him, he'll be arguing with you about the next cause that you need to support. He was completely dedicated to human rights, and we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude. But most importantly today, we celebrate not only Bert Corona, but we celebrate a great Los Angelino. He is truly a historical figure in Los Angeles, even though many people will not have heard of him. So we want to hope that the kids at Bert Corona School will carry on his legacy through their actions and support of their community as they move forward, that they be service-oriented as well. With that, it's my pleasure to present this resolution declaring Bert Corona Day to his wife, Angelina, for her tremendous and steadfast support for Bert and his efforts, and continued support. Thank you. Gracias.
Just like that. There you go.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Alarcon. Congratulations. And we will now proceed with the next item. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, that brings us back to public comment on items not on Council's agenda.
Which ones do we have?
It's general public comment.
Oh, general
sir.
public comment. Oh, I thought that was already taken, but it has not. So we will do general public comment, items that are not on today's agenda. Dr. Clyde Williams. Dr. Clyde Williams, followed by Bobby Cooper.
Thank you. Dr. Clyde Williams, El Sereno. What's happening with the Autry National Center? We don't know. We're trying to find out if anything will be occurring next week. Is there a 245 resolution? I don't know. We do know that Loomis Day was a good program that we held in the Northeast LA. We had good attendance. A lot of people volunteered a lot of time. The same people want the Southwest Museum reopened. It's been closed. Why? Because Autry wants the collection out of Southwest Museum, out of Highland Park. They don't care about the building. They can give it to almost anyone. But they need the collection, and they want to piecemeal it. They've already taken stuff from the Braun Library. They have already taken stuff from the Casa de Adobe, all of which was Loomis's heritage to Highland Park, to the Arroyo Seco. So we'd really like to know what's happening, and preferably get more than a 24-hour spatial notice to the next meeting regarding the Autry National Center and the 245 action on the Rec and Park Commission vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Bobby Cooper. Bobby Cooper, second call. Arnold Sachs. Arnold Sachs. Angelina Corona. Ernesto Corona. Michael Carrion. So it looks like we have Arnold Sachs and Michael Carrion, and the other folks aren't here.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. Seems like the controller is making a lot of noise over auditing and the LADOT, more programs under audit. Yet when she was the head of the Transportation Committee, when she sat on City Council, it must have been rolling like greased wheels on a track, because there was never a problem for her to discuss. So you wonder about other chair people of other committees, maybe like the Energy Committee that has HJP, Honest Jan Perry as its chair. And the problems there, although minor as compared to the DOT, especially when you consider the transfer of funds. You know, last year couldn't pay $72 million, the third installment of a payment. This year, paying over $100 million, $125 million in one shot. They're paying so much money they have to pay into the next budget year. So how does that work? And let's not forget the Budget Committee with the Honorable Councilman Parks. Remember, if you take from one pot, another piece of the pie is going to suffer. And you know what we heard that discussion a lot on? On how you're going to take money to pay for the libraries to be open. instead of reducing the expenses for the general funds, you managed in 2 years that have been coming here to raise the cost. You know, $30 million for employee pay raises and paying to reopen the libraries. Not against the reopening, but where are the funds coming from? Oh, and let's not forget the bed tax waivers for the new construction of the hotel rooms.
Michael Carroll. Carry on, Michael, carry on. Our final public speaker.
Yes, my name is Michael Carrion. You know, I heard Mr. Zine on the radio the other day talking about the parking, just like the gentleman before me was. Yet I've come before Mr. Zine and the illegal parking of LAPD, but he does nothing about it. He sits there with the long face saying he doesn't understand. They have a reason to park illegally. They don't. Mr. Parks is a chief of police, ex-chief, yet he does nothing about it. I just don't know what you guys are doing. We got parking enforcement or meter mates making porn. We got DOT driving city vehicles drunk, yet nothing happens to them. I've come here before you guys often and asked you about the illegal parking across the street, right outside, and nobody does anything about it. I guess LAPD is exempt from everything, just like Rafael Perez was. That's how you become a bad cop. You start breaking some laws and you break all of them. I'm going to spend my last minute talking about my councilman, Mr. Weezar's office. I've been calling him for the past month without one courtesy callback, sir. I am not one that's going to sit here lightly and take this when you ask and speak to me and you come to me when you want to be elected. For the past month I've been calling you. I've left messages for you to call me because your staff chooses not to. I am not going to wait for your staff to call me once I come into city chambers and say, let's talk. You already know that. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to spend my time.
Direct your comments to the council as a whole, not pick on the council members by name.
Stop my clock then if you're going to interrupt me,
I'm not going to stop your clock, sir.
Okay.
Just keep on talking.
This is the ignorance that I want to tell the people
Thank
about.
you.
The rudeness. This is my city at its best. A person that's supposed to be sitting up there as the president being rude and inconsiderate to people.
Following the rules,
That
sir.
is the council. I'm
Following the
addressing it to
rules,
the
sir.
council.
Just informing you once again of the rules. And now, sir, your time is up. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, next item, please.
Mr. President, that brings us to item number 1, called special for Councilmember Parks.
Number what?
Item number 1, sir.
Item number 1. Arnold Sachs. Number 1.
Wow, thank you. Arnold Sachs speaking regarding this. You're going to be spending, a part of this item on your agenda, $375,000 to the Public Resource Advisory Group to review and analyze the General Services Department energy analysis of 115 buildings. Well, if they already did the analysis of the buildings, why are you going to pay more money? Why didn't you get a company to do the work in the first place? That's just stupidity in action. ARA funds. And doesn't the DWP have a share of ARA funds? How is this money being appropriated? Who's doing the appropriation for this? Why would you have General Services Department energy analysis? Why would you have the General Service Department doing energy analysis in the first place? Thank you.
Mr. Parks, followed by Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could we have staff come up? We've just dealt with this in our committee last Friday, and I just have the one question is we've talked about this program as it's come forward over and over is how to protect the city's general fund. And if I understand this program, we're going to use the remaining $4 million for debt service. We're going to bond for $12 million to be able to then retrofit all of these 52 city buildings. And what I wanted to find out is that whether, as we've done with the LED program with street lighting, whether we can get the LADWP to fund our debt service, which would really be what, in reality, the savings that is being projected that we'd be getting. Otherwise, we have this fluid movement of not knowing exactly how much we're saving, but we know for sure we're going to be spending debt service for the next 17 years. Just like to see if you can respond to whether we have the ability to do that.
Natalie Brosiello, I don't know if DWP will do that or not. We'd have to ask them. You know, the theory is that over the life of the bond, you'll have savings. So what you're basically asking DWP to do is to front those savings, and then beginning in year 3, when the general fund would kick in with actual debt service, if those savings come to fruition, then the bill would stay the same. If there were greater savings, then we would benefit. If there were less savings, we'd have to pay the difference. But I have to talk to WP. I don't know the answer to that question.
The issue, though, is that we need to protect the $4 million by allocating it before, what, June 30th?
Correct. What the Department of Energy has said to us is they would like us to expend from the ERA grant as much as we can by June 30th. So without the approval of council, we can't move that $4 million into a debt service fund to pay the debt service.
Okay.
That's
and the thing is, if we move it into the debt service account and later not approve the debt, then we basically are in jeopardy of losing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happens once it goes into the debt service fund. If, you know, I'm not sure how to get that money out. It hasn't been an issue before. I guess we could write something into the agreement with the trustee that if the deal doesn't come through, the money comes back to the city.
Okay, but does that put us...
Off the top of my head, that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay, does that still put us in jeopardy of losing it if we... Are they saying allocate it or spend it by the 30th?
Well, they want, if it leaves the city, if the grant, if we draw down from the grant, because I'm not the expert here, if you draw down from the grant, we think that DOE, Department of Energy, will consider it expended. And that's something we're still working through with the Department of Energy.
How long would it take to work with LADWP to find out whether an advance like they've done on the street lighting is available to cover the debt service from year 3 on?
You know, hopefully we can get it done in a week so we don't postpone this much further. We'll start calling them today after this meeting and see, you know, what they can do. You know, if they can, you know, promise to do that. I really don't know how quickly they'll be able to move, because I think they have to go to the board to get approval, so I'm not totally sure how long it will take.
On the report today, if we were to look at that as an option, what would we approve today? Just the movement of the, we'd go, what, 1, 2, and 3, and on the report to get the money secured, and then the remaining items would come back? Is that what?
Well, we definitely want to go ahead and pay the people who have done the work already, because they're a small business, so number 1 for sure. You know, I guess number 2, so we can move the money. You know, if you don't want to approve the actual issuance of the bonds until we come back to you for an answer, then you wouldn't approve 3 or 4. You could just hold those until we come back. You'd approve 5A, 5B, I guess 5C, and probably 6, but we would hold 2 and 3. Oh, here's the agenda. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the agenda. So we want 6. I guess we would, you could hold 6, waiting for 2 and 3, and approve 7. I mean, it's hard because we have to go back to the ARA people and talk to them, and we have to talk to WP, so.
But you think you could have this, in fact, do we have council next Friday?
Mr. Clerk, do we have council next Friday? Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me ask if you could make that effort, because it will save it will basically put the general fund in a better position if we're guaranteed that they pay the debt service. Then if they can't do it or are unwilling to do it, then we can move forward on those remaining items within a week.
Okay.
Right.
So you put it back on the agenda.
Yeah.
Those.
Let me just ask, Mr. Chair. Yeah. Let me ask, if I could make a motion today on this item that we would approve item 1, 2, 5A and B and 7 today, and then the remaining items, they come back after a discussion with Water and Power to see if they are willing to pay or can pay the debt service on these bonds as we move forward.
All right, we will hear from some other colleagues and then take a vote. Mr. Reyes, followed Mr. Alarcon, then Cardenas. Do we have a second on Mr. Park's motion?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Reyes.
Council President, I'd like to, on behalf of Councilmember Perry, put forth an amendment to this item. And it states, I'd like to amend the committee report to include the Stella Van Meter Center, located at 606 East 76th Street, in the project list. This has been discussed with the Green Retrofit Working Group, including Vanessa Sanchez and Tony Royster, and they are in full support. So that would be the amendment to this item.
The only thing that we'd have to do is we'd have to pay the bonds require that there be 20% savings on each building, and I don't think that was one of the buildings that was evaluated, so we'd get back to you to see how much more money we needed.
So could we have a consultant look at the building?
Oh yes, we had all 52 buildings were verified by a consultant, by Partner Energy, and then the financial advisor ran an independent analysis, which is what the council had asked for. So, you know, that's fine. I just don't know how much more it would cost, like maybe $5,000 more. I don't know how much it would cost them.
Well, this is coming back.
In a week, we'll come back to you.
Okay, that will get a better perspective on what we can do.
Okay,
Thank
not
you.
a problem.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Mr. Alarcon, followed by Mr. Cardenas.
Council members, I don't have a disagreement with the idea that DWP front load the allocation process with the money as an alternative, but I am concerned that we don't have time to do that. Mr. Parks, my concern is that the DWP doesn't have the authority without action of the Commission to allocate the money. So I don't know that we could get this back in time to make that determination.
Commitment, the money is not due until the third year because we have money for debt service for the first 2 years. So we're asking to pay debt service from the year 3 to 17, which protects the general fund. Otherwise, if they don't pay it, we pay it. But we're just asking, would they make a commitment?
Why would we have to hold this up? What is it?
The issue is
because if they say no, for example, I think we should approve it.
Well, if they say no, we can vote on it when they come back and they say no.
Okay, so strategically you're saying that if we vote it out as is and with the direction to staff to try and negotiate with something.
Well, the thing is, if you wrote it out as directed, then you're going to end up saying go forward on the $12 million of underwriting. You're, in effect, telling them to go get the bonds.
Yeah, we still have to come back to you one more time with the actual bond documents. I don't know if that helps the discussion at all.
So,
I'm sorry, you're saying you have to come back after we approve it?
Correct. Right now you're approving us to, because this is not part of our regular debt program,
okay.
We have to come back to you one more time for the actual bond documents because we don't have a resolution for you. We don't have anything that actually gives the authority to go to market. So this just...
So, Mr. Parks, I see no reason to not approve what is recommended with the direction that we ask or instruct the CAO to negotiate with DWP because they still have to come back with a resolution document anyway.
Well, they got to, if I understand it, when they come back with the resolution document, it's actually done.
Right. No, but they still have to come back for our final approval.
I know, but I'm saying that they're bringing you back again. It's done. you can do that if you choose. I'm just saying we're just trying to protect the general fund to some degree and saying, can they front load the money from year 3 on so that we're not obligated if we don't get the 20% savings, because we're going to have to find real money every year to pay the
I
debt.
appreciate that, but frankly, council members, I think this is a good deal whether or not DWP participates, and I would urge you to support it because we can build these buildings out. The fundamental question to me is if not now, when? Right now we have lower interest rates. We have the capacity to incur this debt. It's a very good cost. The interest rate was what? 3.5?
Under 2%, council member.
Under 2%. I mean, that's an incredibly low interest rate. So even if DWP doesn't agree to participate, I think we need to do this as a matter of moving us forward to reduce the energy consumption of all these buildings. That was the way that the matter was presented to us. And although I agree that it would be great if we could get DWP to front load it for us, I still think it's a good deal, even though we have tough times. So I need to see this thing delayed. So I don't want to disagree with the notion that DWP should be asked, but I don't want it to be held up. If DWP, first of all, if the commission isn't going to be meeting, secondly, and they haven't been noticed, and secondly, that they disagree. We should at least agree in concept with this proposal. So I would like to offer an alternative motion that we move as requested by the ad hoc committee's reports, the recommendation as submitted by our committee, and in addition that we amend the report to instruct the CAO to try to negotiate an action that Mr. Parks has described with DWP.
And we'll also look into the building that Councilman Reyes wants us to look into and tell you how much it costs.
Is there a second on Mr. Alarcon? No?
Let me ask a question, and I may second that if I understand one thing.
Dialogue between Mr. Parks.
Let me just ask one question.
Sure.
What Mr. Alarcon just asked, mechanically, how do we do that? If you come back and they say yes, how do we alter the ongoing plan?
I'm not quite sure. I guess what we would do is, sit down with DWP and they could transfer the money to the general fund, and somehow get it to the general fund. I think that's the details we have to talk to the controller and to DWP about. I'm not exactly sure.
It's not impossible.
I don't think so. It's really, does DWP do this, for a regular basis or not? I really don't know that much about this, so it's hard for me to answer.
Okay.
But we will, like I said, we will contact DWP. We will contact the people who do this, and we can get back to you.
Do we have a second on Mr. Alarcon? Mr. Parks will second it.
I'll second it.
Mr. Alarcon second. Mr. Cardenas.
We've got to figure it out.
Thank you. Natalie, maybe I can help clarify a couple of things. The way I see Councilmember Parks' motion as understood by the staff doesn't in and of itself cause a problem of timing.
No.
However, Councilmember Alarcon's motion preserves that a little bit clearer by just approving the recommendations with those two amendments. But one thing that I want to remind all of us and the public, due to the Brown Act requirements, there are two things that, and I want to state that I have personally witnessed the Department of Water and Power, when they like an idea, they make sure that they get a meeting of their board very quickly. When they don't like an idea, they tell us, well, we're 2 weeks away from a board meeting, and that tells you right there that they're not cooperating with an idea. So we're going to know right away when Natalie and/or the appropriate staff communicate what was discussed this morning. We're going to know right away if they're cool to the idea, they like the idea, or not. In addition, I've witnessed the department pull together a meeting following the Brown Act very quickly, and they used a tool that is above board, and it works just fine. They couldn't get a quorum, and instead of making an excuse that they couldn't get a quorum, they actually noticed at the place where one of the board members was going to be that day within Los Angeles, and they posted the notice at her workplace because she was going to be at her work, and that satisfied legally and appropriately the Brown Act, and they got the meeting that they wanted when they wanted to move something quickly. So I just want to let everybody know, we'll know about the politics of whether or not they like this idea or not right away, but whether or not they like it, one thing that I would like to remind the staff is what we need to communicate with them is we're not asking them to do something weird or underhanded or wrong. Basically, as has been stated by Councilmember Parks, this is an energy matter. It does, in fact, affect the Department of Water and Power. And can we find an appropriate above-board nexus so that they can justify actually supporting this with those DWP dollars? And again, it's all above board. It's about energy, it's about savings, it's about the intent and the reason why these ARA dollars are even coming to local government and Los Angeles is that we want to reduce carbon footprints in any way that we can. And when we do that and reduce energy consumption, it probably will be really easy to see that there's an above-board nexus, that the Department of Water and Power does benefit from this, and they can, within their guidelines, actually support this with monetary support to make sure that this can actually support the community of Los Angeles and also have less of an impact on the general fund of the taxpayers of Los Angeles. So I just wanted to point that out in case anybody got confused. I want to also point out that Councilmember Alarcon and Councilmember Parks were pretty much saying the same thing. They were not arguing with each other. They were actually arguing the point and actually want to go in the same direction. So I just want to remind everybody that what you just witnessed was not an argument. What it was is debating the merits of it and trying to figure out the best way to handle it. But I did want to warn everybody that we'll know right away if the Department of Water and Power is willing to take this on as a matter when and if they're willing to move on it quickly and then actually substantiate whether or not they can do this. Thank you.
Mr. LaBonge.
Thank you very much. Is a representative from Water Power here? Is there a representative from General Services here? Is there a representative from Recreation and Parks here? I would just say, could this be continued to Tuesday? No. What's the list, Tony?
General Services.
We just went through the budget. Our departments are having to pay millions of dollars for energy costs. Is there a constructive way to look at this to see what buildings are going to be selected, what costs that is not going to go to the DWP because Los Angeles buildings will provide its own power? Mr. Royster.
I think if you look at it, 52 buildings were selected, and I think the estimated savings is about 42%. And I said
42% of what?
Reduction in power, in consumption of those.
We don't have the dollar number because, as you remember, members, when I spoke during the budget, I spoke about the cost that previously was never charged to our variety of departments and how I support the transfer and the fact that they don't pay property tax. We're able to keep gyms open and we're able to keep libraries open because they're not paying the electric bill. Now we have to pay the electric bill. So it would be nice to know, are we going to do all the libraries first? If we have 70 libraries and we cut the electric bill for that, that's a great thing. I would just like to know. I understand what Mr. Parks and Mr. Alarcon are talking about, but I think we should know what buildings they're looking at so that we could hopefully make a interjecting motion that would make sure that the cost that the departments are paying to the DWP stay with the department so they can help the people of Los Angeles.
Some of the buildings are libraries, some are fire stations, some are...
Yeah, we don't have a list.
Yeah, we do.
I don't have a list in my report.
It's a list there.
In my report that I received through the documents, does everybody have a list? Do you have a list, Paul? Yeah. Paul doesn't have a list. Maybe just the committee chair has a list. What's going on here?
It's attachment A to the CAO report.
Yes. Yeah. We don't have a list.
Yeah. I think there are about 17 recreation and parks facilities that are included in that 52.
I got that. But also, is there a step by the CAO? Thank you very much, Anita. A step by the CAO to try to not hurt the departments if they go green, but yet they could keep that money for use? This is what I would fight for. Yeah, I just got it right now.
These were buildings that were identified by the by the consultant and by GSD that would provide the most savings. Like I said, the Department of Energy and the federal government's requiring 20% savings on all these buildings. So these buildings had to meet, the retrofits had to meet that requirement.
Anita, thank you for this copy. I'm going to make copies, so for those who have either small print copies or no copies, we'll get copies. Could this be digested for Tuesday, or do you need it today? Madam CAO.
That's, obviously the quicker we can start, the quicker we can,
But how much DPW now on Tuesday? I mean, I'd love water and power here. I'd love Rec and Parks here. General Services is here. Thank you, Tony.
Really, okay. I mean, obviously we'd like this approved as quickly as possible, but if that's the council wants us to do, we'll do it. It just delays the project, over the weekend.
We want to continue
and on Monday, so it's really.
Mr. Alacon, as chair, just asked for your advice. This committee on economic recovery and reinvestment. Who's the chair of this committee?
Mr. Wesson, Mr. Alacon, for an introduction, briefly, Mr. Alacon.
Yeah, I rise for purposes of introduction. In 1999, I started a program as a state senator called my Young Senators Program. These are leadership students from the Northeast San Fernando Valley and actually throughout the San Fernando Valley. I'd like to introduce the Young Senators of this year. This is just a small representation. Most of them are finishing up their graduation requirements and are in school. But they are touring City Hall, learning about city government. We also take them up to Sacramento and teach them about the legislative process. So I want to welcome all the students from the Young Senators Program.
Welcome to City Hall. Let's hear it for the students, Young Senators. Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Wesson.
Yeah, Mr. Labange and members, this is a project that I have been working on since 2006. I understand concerns, Mr. Labange, that you might have, and even Mr. Krikorian. Those concerns where it relates to the number of the buildings, the priorities of the buildings, I believe we can come back and afford you the opportunity to discuss with the appropriate staff how they were selected and what have you, Tom. But I don't think that we need to delay the vote on this today. But I do believe that your questions are valid, and I believe your desire to want to do Rec and Park or libraries, that has merit as well. But we've been struggling to put this together. It seems to be working. I would have no problems in us moving forward with this today. And then we schedule, we put on the agenda, we bring back individuals from the that were actually involved, if you're comfortable. Okay, thank you. With that, Mr. President, I'd like to request an aye vote. It would appear that there's a peace been made between Mr. Alacon and Mr. Parks, and I would think that we would move forward given the amendment that was put in by Mr. Alacon and seconded by Mr. Parks. So I would like for us to vote.
I just wanted to be clear that 115 buildings were looked at, and these were the 52 that were the highest and met the requirements of the grant as well as the QCEBs. And we did spend $375,000 reviewing the buildings to make sure they met the requirements. So we'll be more than happy to come back and report on what the criteria was and all that. But at this point in time, once we start the bond deal, we can't replace buildings.
You're telling me we couldn't adjust the order? Because
well,
what you're saying is you want to make sure that every one of these things fits the criteria. That should have nothing to do as to which ones we select to do first. So like I'm saying,
that's a different issue, correct.
Why don't we just discuss this again at length and give the members the opportunities to ask you whatever questions they need to ask you where it relates to the order that we move forward. Bernard.
Mr. Krikorian and then Mr. Parks. Mr. Wesson, one more time.
One last thing. At the request of Mr. Parks, and it makes sense to me, we'd like to have the CLA engaged as well.
Absolutely.
Now, Mr. Krikorian, then Mr. Parks.
Well, members, I just want to
rise to, I guess, follow up on Mr. Wesson's comments. This is a critically important step that we have to take. The DWP has presented a draft budget in which it is reducing expenditures for energy efficiency. One of the most important goals that we can be striving for our environment, for reducing the infrastructure investments that the DWP is going to have to make over the years, for reduction of our carbon emissions, for reliability of our grid. For all of those reasons, we need to be moving much more aggressively in the direction of energy efficiency, and yet at that very moment, the DWP is proposing to reduce its expenditures for energy efficiency. So here we have an opportunity to utilize federal funds to achieve those important policy goals and to benefit our departments at the same time by reducing their energy expenditures. I share Mr. Labange's concerns about our not having had a thorough discussion here about how to allocate those funds, but I think wherever they're allocated, it's an important goal for the city that we need to move forward with today. So I call for your aye vote.
All right. So Mr. Parks does not wish to speak. Mr. Clerk, can you tell us what we're going to vote on now? Since we've had some amendments.
We have the most recent motion made by Councilmember Alarcon and seconded by Councilmember Parks to move the committee recommendations as a whole and also include a CAO a request to instruct the CAO to negotiate with the Department of Water and Power relative to the concerns that Mr. Parks expressed previously. It should be noted that that was also amended to include the CLA as well.
All right. So everybody understand what we're going to vote on now? Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you. Next item, please.
That brings us to item number 6, called special for Councilmember Alarcon. There is amending motion 6A that has been circulated.
Mr. Alarcon, number 6, sir.
Members, there are two reports coming out on this matter. They are both cooperative agreements, so I would urge that we support both matters.
Thank you, Mr. Alarcon. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
And number 1 that was heard just before, forthwith, and forthwith on this, Mr. Alarcon. Forthwith on the last 2 items, please.
So for clarification, that also includes 6A.
Very well.
And forthwith on the last 2 items.
Yes.
Very good, sir. That brings us to item number 8, called special for Councilmember Alarcon. And
Mr. Arnold Sachs on number 8. How much time does Mr. Sachs have left? All right, 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Arnold Sachs. Selection for the underwriting team for the anticipated 2011 tax revenue anticipation notes financing. Hopefully you learned your lesson from last year. You don't put the banks on that can't issue notes or will not issue notes, and you know about the banks that the city is in court against, having cases for various reasons, will be the banks that will be able to issue the notes. Because as we heard in the last discussion regarding these these buildings and the greening program that you want to get into, nobody discussed the council's wishes before they went out and inspected 115 buildings. So kind of put the cart and the horse in order. Remember, horse first, cart being pulled. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Alarcon.
Council members, I'd really like to add Amendment 8A that has been circulated that says, in addition to all the intent language, I therefore move that the City Administrative Officer submit a written report to Council within 60 days about what steps the City is taking to work with and build the capacity of financial firms that are small or medium-sized and or women or minority-owned, as well as additional steps the City can take to support these types of businesses in the future.
Jose.
Are we ready to vote? Wait, Mr. Alec, are we ready?
Second.
Second, Mr. Huizar?
It's 8A. 8A.
8A.
I knew that.
2 seconds for that, Mr.
That's why
Alacon.
we got you here, man.
So now you're assured. Okay.
How many years have I been here?
Mr. Clerk, we're ready to vote?
Sir, we are. That would be item number 8, the communication from Chair and member of the Budget and Finance Committee, as amended by motion 8A.
Open the roll. Mr. Rosendahl, do you wish to speak on this?
I don't know if it's the appropriate moment, but I just want to say that I asked Lawa to come in and talk about the summer program. Is that part of this at all? I asked them here to come back with a report. Pardon me?
This is number 8.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Tax and revenue.
I ran around the room.
Mr. Rosendahl, that's not the item we're discussing. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item, please.
That brings us to item number 11, called Special for Cards.
Number 11, Arnold Sachs. Number 11. Arnold Sachs passes on number 11. Anyone to speak on number 11? Seeing none, open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Forthwith on number 11. Thank you, Mr. Parks. Mr. Rosendahl?
On item 1, look, let me just get this clear.
One's already passed, Mr. Rosendahl.
Well, I'd like to reconsider to make Lawa come before us and give us a report on it, if I can do that without causing any problems. It's item number 6? Just to reconsider item number 6 so I can put that in that.
Mr. Rosendahl, you talking about number 1 or 6?
Please.
1 or 6?
6.
You want to reconsider number 6?
Yes.
Colleagues on number 6, open the roll for reconsideration. It went forthwith.
I know, but I just want to put it in the forthwith.
Colleagues, open the roll on reconsideration number 6. Open the roll. Close the roll.
First would be to suspend the rules. We have to first
All right.
suspend the rules.
So open the roll on suspending the rules. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next, we have it up for consideration. For reconsideration, open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Great. Okay, I'd like to make a verbal motion to that, asking Lawa to come back with us in this quick action that we take here, how they're going to bring together some summer jobs out of the Lawa. And Richard, you want to second it? He seconds it.
Mr. Labange.
As a former summer worker, what are the age requirements to work at the airport? Is there any age requirement? Excuse me? No, but is there some restriction?
I'd like to let our guy speak real quickly. Good point.
Well, then it seems.
Robert Science, 16 to 21.
Can 16-year-olds work at the airport based on the moving of? I remember I got a job at 15 because I told them, Mr. City Attorney, that I was 18 because I wanted to run big printing presses. Wise Printing in Van Nuys Boulevard on Satakoy. I had the job, and then the guy found out I was 15 and a half, and I couldn't have the job because you had to be 18 to run big printing presses. I wanted to run them. Meaning, this would be, then there's classes that would be over 18 if there's a restriction?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I want to get that on the record.
Appreciate that very much.
All right, we're going to have a problem in a moment, so let me bring this forward to a vote. Open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Colleagues, we now have a quorum problem. We appear not to have 10. Mr. Clerk, can you find out forthwith? Let's find out if we have our 10 members present. Mr. Clerk.
I'm sorry, sir?
I've been informed you've lost a quorum. Can you verify that, please?
It would appear so. Mr. President, would you like to take a roll call?
I do a roll call just to verify.
Alarcon.
Here.
Cardenas.
Here.
Han.
Han's not here.
Huizar.
Here.
Koretz.
Here.
Krikorian. Labange.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
Perry. Reyes. Rosendahl.
Here.
Smith. Wesson. Zine?
Here. Wesson should come off the board.
That's 10, sir. And Garcetti not here.
All right, so we're at a bare quorum, colleagues. We're at a bare quorum. And I think we have one item left.
Mr. President,
Mr. Cardenas.
I'd like to perhaps get some assistance from the city attorney so we can understand what constitutes being present, if you don't mind.
Mr. City Attorney, I know we reviewed that. Can you explain it one more time?
I'd like to ask city attorney specific
He's going to do it.
questions so we can
He's
have
going
some
to do
clarity.
it, Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you. Question to the city attorney. If one of the members is in one of the two restrooms that are behind here, one's a women's restroom, one's a men's restroom, are they considered present?
They normally are considered present. Council members considered present when they're in chambers. If they are leaving the room, they should ask for permission of or let the council president know. If they're just in one of the side rooms for a short amount of time, they are still considered present.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the rules, notifying the president that we're going to be right behind this door, is that a requirement when it comes to being considered present, or is this just a custom and practice? We already got a quorum, so we already verified that.
City Attorney is answering the question.
I
for the
believe
council member.
it's in the rules that a council member has to request of the council president permission to leave the room.
So if a council member has to go to the restroom, technically speaking, according to the rules, they need to notify the president that they would like to step toward the back and use the restroom.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, thank you. Question to the president. Mr. President, what caused you to call for a quorum call?
I was informed by the clerk that we lost the quorum. That's why I asked to be called.
If you're informed by the clerk, well, let me ask the city attorney. City attorney, if the president of the council is notified by the clerk that we may have lost the quorum, is a quorum call required?
It's at the discretion of the council president.
Okay, so it's at the discretion of the council president. He could duly note the comment made by the clerk about we may have lost a quorum, but that does not require a quorum call?
The clerk was informed.
It's at the discretion of the council president.
The clerk was informed by a council deputy that there was lack of a quorum. The clerk informed me, and I then asked for a quorum call.
Yeah, but thank you very much. That's an accurate description of what just took place, but I want to just know as a member of this council, if you'll allow me to have the city attorney help me understand, and for the edification of all of the members present, understand the rules a little bit better. So whether it is a staff person or anybody that informs the clerk that we may have lost a quorum, and then the clerk actually shares that with the president, the origin of that suggestion, does it change the discretion of the president, Mr. City Attorney? Does the origin of that information that is shared to the clerk and or eventually to the sitting president, does that change the discretion of the president to call a quorum call or not?
I don't believe it changes that. It's at the discretion.
I think it's pretty clear that it does not. There's nothing in the rules that says what's the origin of why the clerk would share that information with the president. I don't think that's worded anywhere in there.
You're correct.
Thank you.
Well, let me
Thank you, Mr.
explain to our viewers that when it's brought to the president's attention, whoever's sitting as president, that we've lost a quorum, it's a responsibility and obligation to make sure we follow the rules. We intend to have a quorum, and when in doubt, we check to verify to avoid any possible issue that could be brought up at a later time, that we're following the rules of a quorum. And I did that. We do have a quorum, so we will proceed. Mr. Clerk, with the next item, please. Mr. Parks.
I'd just like item 7 get reconsidered because we needed to approve only the budget and finance report instead of both reports because they have conflicting direction as to sources and direction of funds.
You want to reconsider number 7?
Number 7, so we can approve only the budget and finance report.
Was that a forthwith?
Yes, it was.
Wait a second. Was that a forthwith, Mr. Clerk? Okay, so now we have to suspend the rules, open the roll and suspend the rules, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Matter is now before us. Mr. Parks.
I just would like to move the Budget and Finance report on that.
So let's vote. Open the roll to reconsider. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Before us, Mr. Parks, for reconsideration.
Yeah, we want to just move the Budget and Finance report.
All right. That's the motion on this. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you.
Forthwith, sir?
Forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Parks.
Again, they have two different directions.
Number 6.
Where the money's coming from.
Mr. Clerk, did we vote on number 6? Are we still on number 6, or did we vote?
No, sir. We did vote on 6.
All right, so we're still back on number 6? Madam Clerk, we did vote on number 6? Okay. And they want it forthwith. Very well. Next item, please.
Item 12, called special for cards.
Number 12, Arnold Sachs. Mr. Sachs, number 12.
Yes, thank you. Arnold Sachs. That's quite a moniker on this motion. The Office of Community Beautification for the South of the Santa Monica Freeway Clean and Safe Program. And how much funding is allocated to the Office of Community Beautification for the South of the Santa Monica Freeway Clean and Safe Program? How much money is allocated just for their stationery? Oh, $350,000 from the Community Redevelopment Agency. Why can't the Community Redevelopment Agency, which I'm sure this area is part of a community redevelopment area, why can't they do the work? Why does the Office of Community Beautification for the South of Santa Monica Freeway Clean and Safe Program have to be involved in that? And is there a program for the North, for the Office of Community Beautification for the North of the Santa Monica Freeway Clean and Safe Program? How about for the Office of Community Beautification for the East of the 405 Freeway Program? Or how about the Office of Beautiful Communication for the east side of the 110 freeway or the west side of the 110 freeway? Just think of the possibilities for all this funding that nobody knows a damn thing about. It's just like yesterday with the Measure R program funding going to the Expo Line train stations. How does the Measure R funding end up in train stations that are supposed to be constructed by the Expo Construction Authority? It's wonderful the way that the funding moves around in this city. It's like a whirlpool, or you're grabbing for a token, and nobody knows who's going to get it, except we know who's not. And that's the constituents in the city who desperately need funding and programs so they can go back to work and get jobs. Thank you.
All right, that matter is before us. Mr. Labange, you wish to speak on this matter?
I'll get you a briefing for you if you want to understand. Thank you very much.
Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 13, called special for cards.
Arnold Sachs.
He's out of time, sir.
Mr. Sachs is out of time. On number 13, colleagues, Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you so much for giving me permission to go back behind the chambers for a couple minutes. I just wanted to announce that I am back. Thank you.
Mr. Cardenas, thank you for your consideration. Mr. Wesson.
Would this be an appropriate time to inform all of my colleagues and anyone who's listening or watching on television that Ginger was adopted by Celine in the mayor's office? So we still have our 100% dog adoption record.
We'll celebrate that. Next item, please.
Sir, I believe we need to vote on item 13.
Number 13, open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item, please.
Mr. President, council has motions for posting and
Motion
referral.
referred.
The desk is clear.
Any announcements? Any announcements? Mr. Labange.
It is a Relay for Life, 24-hour from Saturday to Sunday morning in the Griffith Park, Los Feliz, Silver Lake area at the Mulholland Fountain. The public is invited to come out and walk Los Feliz Boulevard and Mulholland. Relay for Life.
Mr. Rosendahl.
Mr. President, as we continue Gay Heritage Month, Sunday is the parade. And I want to thank my colleagues who are going to be joining me on the fire truck. It's going to be a great moment. In fact, we expect the largest crowds in the history of the program. So I look forward to being on the fire truck with my council colleagues. This Sunday, 11 a.m., the parade starts, goes down Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to remind the public that City is going to be out at Expo Center, Department of Sanitation. Expo Center is June the 11th, 9 to 3, and they'll be putting on a free tire recycling, and that address is 3990 Menlo, and certainly ask those who come out to use that service versus having those tires in our alleys and streets. The other thing on redistricting, the next two important meetings for the community is Saturday, June 11th at West Angeles Villas at 6030 Crenshaw Boulevard, and again Thursday, June 16th at 5:30 at Culver City City Hall. Those are the next two community meetings regarding redistricting.
Mr. Reyes.
Council President, I just wanted to announce and thank the Young Life Church for having a major cleanup program over in Lincoln Heights, the Mozart Bridge. And again, it's about safety for the children getting to in school, back and forth. It's an area that needs attention because of budget cuts. We haven't been as focused in these pockets. And thanks to the Alley Conservation Corps and the Young Life Church congregation, together we're going to make a difference on that bridgeway and the neighborhoods around that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Any other announcements? Seeing none. Any adjourning motions? Mr. Labange, Mr. Reyes. Please stand for adjourning motions. We'll start with Mr. Huizar. Mr. Huizar, adjourning motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, ask that we adjourn today in memory of Ramon Huante, a.k.a. Ray Huante. Ray, as he was known in the community of Bow Heights, passed away June 2nd, 2011 in Pasadena at the age of 79. He was the director at Hazard Park in Bow Heights for around 30 years. He retired in the 1990s. Ray was known around the community for his tenacity and heartfelt interest in the youth in the community. Ray worked at Lincoln Heights Recreational Center, but his home was Hazard Park. He organized and participated in pickup games during his tenure at the park. He played basketball with the local youth right up to his retirement, showing that he not only did his work and his responsibilities, but was actually part of the community. He attended Manual Arts High School, where he played football and was on the gymnastic team. He was a mentor, father figure, leader, and now he's inspired kids to do better. He was a pioneer and a true leader of the Friends of Hazard Park, a group which made sure that Hazard Park would be protected and preserved. Ray is leaving behind his wife Kathy, daughters Karen and Julie, and his three grandsons, Kirk Jr., Cameron, and Bryce. And my office has received several emails from young people who grew up in the area and who wanted us to make sure that Ray and his family are kept in mind and in our prayers, because he was a person that certainly went out of his way to do more than just his job, but really cared about the local community. Many people miss him. Many people have said they would not be able to be doing the things they're doing today if it wasn't for him. So colleagues, ask for your adjourning motion memory of Ray Huante today.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. I want to join Councilmember Huizar. When I was attending the Lincoln Heights Rec Center, Huante was our coach. Huante ran the gym. He took care of us. When the folks who were involved in gangs would come into the gym or to the playground, he would stand up for us. He would come out and make sure that the basketball wasn't stolen or that we were getting beat up, and that he was actually out there coaching us. But more importantly, he took care of us. I must have been 6 years old, and 5 or 6, a group of us spoke Spanish first, and he came out to us and he spoke to us in Spanish and made us feel welcome, as opposed to what the schools were doing and forcing us to say, you know, they were anglicizing your name. No, it's not Eduardo, it's Edward. And so to hear someone speak your language and to talk to you and make you part of that sense of family, that's what Huante did. We knew him as Huante. A lot of guys from Sacred Heart, I guess from Cathedral, that were in Lincoln Heights, got a lot of support from Huante. I want to share a little bit about his background as well, if I may. He attended LA City College. He met a young lady named Catherine Ann Morris, and following his graduation from Cal State LA, Ray and Catherine were married on October 8, 1960. He worked his way through college with the Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks and Recreation, where upon his graduation he was promoted to recreational director and duly served his position until he retired. He enjoyed taking daily walks, spending time with his children and grandchildren, as well as sharing the fruits of his gardening with his friends and neighbors. On October 8, 2010, Ray and Kathy Huante proudly celebrated their golden anniversary, 50 years of life, friendship, and love for one another. Shortly thereafter, he became ill and eventually succumbed to his illness. Ramon was preceded in death both parents and the loving brother, Joe Viveros. He's survived by his wife, Kathy, daughters Karen Huante, Alexander, and Julie Christine Young, sons-in-law Kirk Alexander Sr. and Craig Young, grandchildren Kirk Alexander Jr., Cameron Alexander, and Bryce Young, brothers Frank Viveros, Michael Huante, Ruben, and Maria Huante, sisters Angie and George Lamb, Rachel, Wade, Helen Huante, and a host of nieces, nephews, and friends. And Huante, you'll always be remembered.
You could be co-presenters on that, please.
Co-presenters by all members, too, in the back. He's a record part.
Okay, all members.
Yeah. Co-presenters.
All members, any other adjourning motions? Mr. Koretz?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I ask that you join me today in adjourning in memory of Gabriel Ben Mayer, an MTV coordinator who was robbed and shot outside his Mid-Wilshire home on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 8th. It may seem a little bit late. The family had originally asked us to hold this for a few weeks so they could attend, but I think the emotions are still too raw and they couldn't be here. Gabriel Ben Mayer is the son of Nick and Loretta Ben Mayer and brother of Alexis Ben Mayer, longtime residents of Track 7260 in Council District 5. Gabriel was just 30 years old, or Gabriel, I'm sorry, was 30 years old and loved deeply by his parents and sister. He was a sweet, kind, and loving person, aspiring to continue his career in music. Soon after his death, LAPD officials quickly made 2 arrests. The suspects are said to be responsible for a string of robberies in the area over a 2-week period in which they were armed with a shotgun, the same type of weapon used in Gabriel's killing. Our hearts go out to his family and friends, and I ask that we join them in treasuring Gabriel's memory. By adjourning in his name, we stand with all those who loved him and honoring his strength of character, tremendous creativity, and wonderful personality.
Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, I ask that we adjourn this meeting in memory of Adriana Buckaloo, who passed away far too early at the age of 50 when we lost her as a longtime Valley resident who grew up in Echo Park, Eagle Rock, and Rosemead and graduated from Glendale College. Adriana was a well-known volunteer at all of her 8 children's schools. She brought great deal of happiness to everyone who knew her and who she touched, and she'll be dearly, dearly missed by her loving husband, Rick Buckaloo, her 8 children, Alexandria, Ricky, Mallory, Mandy, Emily, Hillary, Ashley, and Carla, her grandkids, Wyatt, Jack, Maxine, Jared, Lexi, Cameron, and Mia, her parents, Elisa and Gilbert, and her siblings, Liz, Kathy, Danny, Joe, Wendy, and Jason, and all of the nieces and nephews whom she loved so dearly, and her extended family, and many, many friends in the San Fernando Valley. She will be missed, and may she rest in peace.
Mr. LaBonge.
Members, I ask we adjourn in memory of Josefina Galeas, who's the mother of my staff member, Gigi Galeas. Josefina, born in 1938, immigrated here from the Philippines with her 3 children. She then, for a better life, she worked very hard in our city and raised 3 wonderful children who were much loved. She also had tragedy of illness and lived 6 years in a convalescent home where often her children would visit her and give her the love and attention she needs. She passed away yesterday afternoon. She's survived by her mother, through her 3 daughters, 3 grandchildren, 5 brothers, and 1 sister. In addition, I'd like to ask we adjourn in memory of Nigel Cooper, a great friend of the city of Los Angeles. Nigel was 79 years old when he succumbed to illness in his home of Southampton, England. I've known him for over 30 years plus, and had been in his old home, which was built in 1827, and often it hit my head because the ceilings were so small in the old home that they live in a farm. He was visited Los Angeles a number of times and had family here. He's survived by his wife Mary, his son Sean, Nick, and Simon. I ask we adjourn in memory of a great Englishman who loved Los Angeles, Nigel Cooper.
Mr. Koretz?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one more adjourning motion. It is with great sadness that I ask the Council to adjourn in memory of Jean Cocciaro, who passed away from cancer on Monday at the age of 79. All of us hopefully have known a waitress in that special neighborhood restaurant, that person who takes care of you and warms your day, but also has character, wit, and spunk. Someone who makes that breakfast or lunch or cup of coffee memorable and worth treasuring. Jean Cocciaro was exactly such a keenly beloved person and member of her community. She's a waitress at Cantor's Deli since 1956. Became a manager there while continuing to serve as a waitress. And she was treasured by regulars and workers there alike for her passion and pride in what she did and how she did it, knowing her customers like the back of her hand, having their food and coffee ready without needing to take an order. She had an incredible memory, a great sense of humor, and many people considered her to be like a Jewish mother for her likableness and her deep commitment to caring about everyone around her. She was also sort of a celebrity at the deli, featured in Los Angeles Magazine and episodes of Roseanne and Geraldo, and even appearing in Playboy, although fully clothed. She served the famous and the unknown with equal flair and respect. She is survived by her sons Michael and Danny Traeger and her brother Marvin Lazar, as well as countless friends and loved ones, and she'll be sorely missed by many.
Any other adjourning motions?
Oh, if I could add one more thing. A memorial and celebration of her life will be held on June 16th at 11 a.m. at the deli at 419 North Fairfax Avenue. And for information, you can call Jackie Cantor at 323-651-2030.
Thank you. See no other adjourning motions. This concludes this meeting. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.